Welcome, all my fellow Washington brethren and sisters. I am your man and resident Washington football team fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Washington Football Report. So, as you can tell, I don't have a lot of voice, but like players, sometimes you got to go not at 100%. Sometimes you got to go in there, get a little banged up, got a little tweak here, tweak there, and in my case, I got a tweaked vocal cord, if you will. So, and we all play injured sometimes. We all got to do our part. I'm doing mine tonight, so the voice will go in and out. We'll do this for as long as we can tonight. My trusty sidekick, my fiance, has done her best to equip me with all the necessary tools I'll need to get the job done. She's got me some tea. I've got some water, and I got a couple of cough drops as well. So hopefully it'll get me through the show tonight. But I'm a soldier. Okay, this is what I do. So we're going to gut it out tonight. If I couldn't talk at all, that would be the only way I wouldn't do the show. So hopefully as the night progresses, I'll be good enough to go. But y'all know what it is. All right, your man Louie T's playing hurt tonight. It is what it is. I feel like Terry at the end of last season. You know, Terry had 2 bum ankles, but Terry didn't complain. He just came out and gave us what he had. That's what I'm doing tonight. I'm coming out and I'm giving y'all what I got. I don't know how much it's going to be, but I'm going to give y'all what I got. So we going to try to make this thing work tonight. All right. So I really appreciate y'all kicking it with me. As we get closer and closer to the season, there are a couple of topics that have cropped up that are on the radar. Not something that really alarms me per se, but I do want to talk about them. I do want to touch on them because I feel like they could become problematic. So we'll touch on those. But let me start by telling y'all, I was on a show recently. All right. It was the Big Douglas show. And y'all probably have seen on social, specifically Twitter, but I was also reposting it and sharing it on IG, and I added it to my story. It was a very, very fun show. It was one of the best collabs I've done with a fellow Washington football team fan. And very knowledgeable dudes. My guy, Rapper Big Pooh, my guy, Doug, they were, running the show, and it's a lot of great content there. So if you haven't checked out my guy Douglas's channel, Big Doug and Rapper Big Pooh, and their podcast, please do yourself a favor. All right. Check out that show and check out his show. He's had a ton. See, this is the problem a lot of times with a content creator sometimes is the content is there, but the exposure is not. So what you got to find a way to get your content out there. He's had some A1 guests, okay? I mean, the creme de la creme. They've been on his show, and you guys probably haven't even checked it out. Some of you have, but a lot of you haven't. So if you have a chance, check out the Big Douglas show and give it a look, give it a listen, and sub my man up if you enjoy the content. It's quality stuff. And I had a blast doing that show. And I implore you, I urge you, if you want more Washington content, check out the Big Douglas show. You won't be sorry. So with that said, all right. We're going to try to continue to power through. Anyway, I wanted to touch on this. I didn't plan on touching on this when we first started the show. But after I was preparing for the show, I saw this tweet late from JP Finley. And he retweeted a tweet from somebody else. And essentially, the tweet said, that Washington is one of 4 teams that isn't above the 50% threshold that the NFL has not necessarily mandated, but has thrown out there as the number that they want for teams to have in order to have some liberties and the relaxing of some rules that they've put in place to protect teams from COVID. And I think that number actually might be like 75%. I don't get me to lying, because I don't actually know the specific number. I just know Washington is one of 4 teams. As a matter of fact, I'll pull up the tweet so I can read it to you and give you guys an idea of where we stand on that. And I know some of you really don't care, but it does impact the team. So this tweet is from @RobMatty, who writes, Washington, Arizona, Indianapolis, and Los Angeles Chargers remain under 50% vaccination for COVID-19 as of today, per a source familiar with the NFL's vaccination rates. Pittsburgh, Miami, Carolina, and Denver have the highest rates and are among 7 teams with at least 85% vaccinated. It says teams on the lower end of the vaccination chart face potential competitive disadvantages, especially because the NFL doesn't plan to cancel any games this season, per my source. So essentially what he's saying is, if you run into some issues with this COVID-19 thing this year, the league won't be making any accommodations for you. So they've already talked about travel restrictions and things that you have to do, protocol that you have to follow if you don't have over 50% of your players vaccinated. We haven't met that threshold. And you already saw that guys had pushback, like Montez Sweat. And look, I'm not going to tell anybody what they need to do. You have the choice. You can or you can't. You do or you don't. I don't care either way. You know, that's what they decide to do. That's what they decide to do. So it really doesn't bother me at all. But the thing that becomes a little dicey is, and look, guys did a great job last year when COVID was much more rampant of keeping themselves safe, isolating from people that could be problematic, and making sure they gave themselves a chance to play each and every single week. We were one of the better teams in the league at steering clear of COVID. The guys that ultimately contracted COVID on the team weren't even active. You know, Matt Ioannidis was one of those guys. They weren't active, so they weren't around the team. The guys that were playing week in and week out, those guys kept themselves clean. So I think there's an opportunity for this team to bypass some of the things that may be obstacles for them just off of what they did last year. But last year is last year, this year is this year. You know, so we'll see what will happen. But it is worth noting that Washington right now hasn't met that 50% threshold. And right now they're sitting there. We don't really know what is going to happen. And all we can say is, if we don't get to 50 and we have a COVID outbreak, we're screwed. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, Rich Eisen is vaccinated. Chris Paul was vaccinated. They both contracted COVID-19. So there are no guarantees in this thing. You get vaccinated. There is no guarantee that just because you're vaccinated means you're going to not get COVID. So at the end of the day, my hope is they do what they did last year. Whether they get vaccinated or not, they find a way to keep themselves from contacting people who are engaging in risky behaviors. Keep your circle tight. That's what it really is all about, is what it boils down to, is keeping your circle tight, making sure that you're not hanging around people that are engaging in risky behavior. And a risky behavior could be just going out and clubbing or something that is, in the grand scheme of things, really, really minuscule. But because of where we are with this thing, you just got to distance yourself from people like that. So we'll see. That's something to keep, a note of. It's something to be mindful of, but at the end of the day, I really don't give a shit personally. As long as we don't have anybody test positive for COVID, it's not a story. It's not an issue. It only becomes an issue if somebody tests positive for COVID. That's when they'll say, see, you didn't have your 50%. It could happen to anybody, though. So hopefully it's not us. That's all we can say. Oh my God. You guys are savages in the comment section. I got to show this because it's so ignorant. I have to show it. My guy, Dre Too Dope, says, love your dedication, big homie, but you got to stop eating booty, man. Like, really? You going to come at me like that? I cannot with y'all, man. Y'all are so ignorant, man. I'm done with y'all. Look, if you haven't had a chance, you see what I'm doing over here. I'm gutting it out. I'm toughing it out for y'all. So if you would please do me a huge solid and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Obviously, my voice doesn't sound like this all the time. So if you're new, I don't sound like Louis Armstrong all the time, okay? But I'm gutting it out. I'm not 100%, but I'm not looking to make any excuses. I'm just here to get the job done. So hit the like button if you haven't done that. Don't be afraid. Touch the like button a little bit and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Anyway, I digress. I appreciate y'all rocking with me tonight under these circumstances. I'm not 100%, as you can tell, yet some of y'all could have turned and run away like, oh, okay, he sounds like ass. I'm gone. I'll catch him next time. I appreciate y'all sticking it out with me and rocking with me, man. So I really do appreciate y'all. So another topic that I want to bring to the forefront is the name. Now, I've touched on this briefly. I do want to expound upon some of the things that I've talked about already. So one of the things, let's put this a little closer. One of the things that I talked about with the name is the fact that I don't think it's going to have red in it. I sincerely believe that, and there's some people that don't want to hear that because they want the name to be Red Wolves. I don't think the name is going to be Red Wolves. I don't. Also, and I have to throw this out there because I've been one of those people that have said I wouldn't be shocked if they keep the name Washington Football Team or change it to like Washington Football Club. So here's the thing with that. They haven't been able to get all of the patents and trademarks because a squatter beat them to a lot of those. They went to court to try and get it in like an overturn on certain things. And the court said, no, it's too close to this. You can't have that. You can't have the jurisdiction over that moniker and name because it's too close to other names that people have already. So they don't have really the full 100% rights and likeness to the football team. And because of that, I find it very hard to believe that they're going to keep this name, Washington Football Team or club or whatever. So I do think it's going to change. I want to set the record straight because there was a period there where I was convinced that they're setting us up to tell us that the name is going to remain Washington Football Team. I don't think that's the case. I think they're changing this name to something else. I just don't think it's something that you want to hear. That's basically what I'm getting at, is that I think they're going to change the name of this team. And it's going to be something locally related, maybe military based. But I do think they're going to change the name of this team. And it's going to be something that you think is stupid or you don't like. And honestly, when a name changes, it's hard to appease people because you're so used to the old name that whatever they name this team, you're like, that's dumb. And you're going to have to get used to it, just like Washington football team was stupid. You got used to it. You may not like it, but you got used to it. So if you think that they're going to name this team Red Wolves or anything with red, and I told you they keep dropping breadcrumbs. Jason Wright keeps dropping breadcrumbs. He keeps telling us not going to be Warriors, not going to be anything with Native American imagery or association. And he said it doesn't necessarily have to start with an R. So he's giving you clues, essentially. Like he's playing Wheel of Fortune with us. All right. Giving us little clues, and you got to guess as to what it is. And I don't think it's going to be Red Wolves. I don't think it's going to be necessarily something that starts with an R. They're trying to play it as if they haven't decided yet. Oh, we've whittled it down to these final names. I don't believe that for 1 second. I believe they've already got a name, and I think they're ready to roll with that name. And they're just trying to, again, slow play it and make people feel like they're a part of the discussion. But at the end of the day, I think they've got a name already. I think they're working behind the scenes to cross all their T's, dot all their I's, and get everything lined up. And they'll roll it out next year. And if it's like the Washington Sentinels or Senators or some craziness like that, you're going to have to just take your medicine. Yeah, and we're going to be the butt of jokes. NFC East fans are going to rag on us. And you may not like the name. And you're like, oh, I hate this team and I'm quitting. You're not quitting the team. Okay. You can be pissed off. You can talk this. You can talk. Because I told you guys from the jump, as long as they don't name us something crazy, and they're not going to do that. Okay. They're not going to name us the Washington Assheads. Like, as long as they don't do something like that, I'm good. I really don't give a shit what the name of the team is. I'm going to root for them anyway. So it is what it is. I was attached to Redskins. That's all I ever knew. And when they took that away, I said, well, shit, at this point, what can you do to me? You've already done the worst thing you could do, which was strip me of my identity. We were the Redskins. That's what everybody knew us as. You took that away from us. That no longer exists. You're trying to wipe the history away of that team and that organization and what they stood for. So if you're going to take that from me, there's nothing really else for you to take. I really don't care what you name the team at this point. There's nothing. I don't know if I'll ever be as attached to another name as Redskins. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with that. I wasn't at first. It took me a while to get there. But I am now. I'm at peace with it. And whatever the team's name is, whatever. I don't give a shit. Let's go play ball. That's what I care about. Winning games on the field. Nobody's going to respect us more because we got a dope name. You can have a dope name and get your ass kicked. Yo, hey, that new name y'all got, that shit is sweet. It's fire. But y'all are ass on the field. That's all anybody cares about. Wins and losses. Are you able to get it done on the field? And that's all I care about. Again, they're not going to name the team something outrageous. And that's all I care about. They're not going to name anything. So I don't have anything to worry about. I may not love the name, but if we're winning on the field, that'll take care of itself. So anyway, I digress. Let's get to some comments, man. I got a super chat here from Metaphor. I told you guys are ruthless. You're savages out there. Metaphor says, what up, Louis Armstrong? What a wonderful world. At times I sound like old Louis. Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those eyes? I crack myself up sometimes. Let's see. I got another super chat. This one is from Tony P56. Thank you for the super chat, Tony P56. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Tony P writes, thanks for being here today, Lou. Something you do well is separate your emotions from being a fan. That makes you a great content provider for our great team. And that is essentially what I try to convey to you guys is that there's nothing wrong with being a fan. You know what fan is short for? Fanatic. Okay? It's nothing wrong with being a fanatic and being fanatical. That's what fans are. That's why we're called fans. Okay? We're usually at one or the other end of the spectrum. Rarely are we even keel in the middle. That's not what fans do, because fans a lot of times aren't rational. Fans aren't rational. That's why we're called fans, and why we're short for fanatical, because we're not rational a lot of times. So either you're really happy and you're at that one end of the spectrum, that's great, or you're really disappointed and pissed off and you're frustrated and you're snapping and you're at the other end of the spectrum. Whatever the case may be, I try to bring everybody towards the center, more towards the center, especially when we're talking expectations, because before the season starts, it's easy to go to that happy end of the spectrum where you allow your emotions to cloud your judgment and you start talking reckless. And again, I don't like to be a dream killer. I try to allow you guys out there to feel the way that you feel, but at the same time, I always try to temper your expectations. Like, it was funny. I was on the Big Douglas show, and I told you it was a hell of a show. And if you haven't had a chance, check out the Big Douglas show on YouTube. Check out the podcast on whatever podcast platform you are getting your podcast from. But it's also on YouTube. Check it out, Big Douglas show. And I was on the show yesterday, and one of the conversations that we were having was simply that the expectations for the upcoming season are through the roof. I can't tell you, how many people I've talked to are talking 12-5. I'm like, wait a minute, 12-5? I can't tell you how many people are looking at the schedule, and I'm like, have you lost your mind? 12-5, really, with this schedule? Now, I'm not saying that's impossible, but it's highly unlikely that that takes place. And the crazy part is, Ron got here and he said that this was a 3-4 year fix in terms of changing the culture and turning this thing into a consistent winner. And everybody lost their minds when we won the division. And my point has been all along, we won the division, so we got here earlier than expected, but we won the division at 7-9. So while it feels like we skipped steps, we really didn't skip any steps. We just got to the division earlier because it was so bad. But if truth be told, if the division was just decent, if it was just average, we don't win it. And we're still looking to break through. But because we won the division, now the expectation is take the next step. Well, the next step is 9-7, or in this case, 9-8. That's the next step, especially with the kind of schedule that we have. That's the next step. But no one wants to hear that. All anybody wants to talk about is 11 or 12 wins and a playoff victory. And I'm like, guys, you're skipping steps, especially with the schedule we have. It's brutal, and you know it. You may not want to admit it, but it's brutal. Sort of like my voice right now. So I keep trying to do that, Tony P, but it's hard because this is the time when you're the most excited. And I get it. I'm excited too, but you got to be able to draw that line in the sand. I dare you to cross that line. I dare you to cross that line. As my man, rapper Big Pooh would say. But you got to be able to understand that excitement doesn't equal wins. You can be excited and you can also be rational with reasonable expectations. And a lot of times as a fan, those two things don't mix, which is unfortunate. So thank you for the super chat, Tony P56. Got another super chat. This one is from my guy, Trevor Patch. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Trev, writes, who else could it be but my man, Louie T? Take a sip, bro, and ride slow. You know I'm a try to pump the brakes and drive slow, homie. Drive slow tonight. I'm going to try my best. You know how I get. I get animated, I get a topic that I get passionate about, and next thing you know, I'm trying to yell, and my voice is like, bro, I don't know what you're doing right now, but you about on the verge of not having nothing come out. So I got to try to temper myself. So I'm going to make sure that I pump the brakes and drive slow tonight. But I really appreciate you for reminding me that, because sometimes you need a reminder in life. It says, recover soon. Training camp is starting up and looking forward to Washington football team nightly. Oh, this isn't going to last long. By the end of the weekend, I'll be back like cook crack. So I might even be better tomorrow. I may not be better tomorrow. I probably will have to take the day off tomorrow, more likely than not, which is fine. It's Friday. But there was no way I was missing the Washington show. I look so much forward to this every single week, chopping it up with you guys. There was no way I was missing this. I would have to be impaired in some way, shape, or form, physically. I don't consider my voice being a little distorted enough to force me to sit out, I'd have to have something really wrong with me. This isn't enough. So thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. I really do appreciate you. Lamarick Anderson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Lamarick, writes, whatever the circumstances are, you rock, bro. I really appreciate you, Lamarick, man. Thank you so much for that encouragement. On a night like tonight, where it is imperative that I push through, I need that kind of encouragement. So I really do appreciate you, Lamarick. Thank you for the super chat. I'm reading some more of the comments. You guys are hilarious. But I'm gonna just tell you, I'm okay. Like, I'm not sick. I don't have a fever. I'm not shivering or anything like that. Trust me. I'm good. My voice is just going in and out. So thank you for the super chat once again. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Them sounds, they sound a little high pitched. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you, and thank you for doubling up. My guy, Metaphor, writes, stay with me. DC aliens. Think Cowboys versus aliens. Is that a thing? That's not a thing, right? All those alien movies, I've lost track of, who the aliens are fighting. They've never fought cowboys, right? So I don't know if I can rock with that one. They're not going to name us. And that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, they wouldn't name us the DC aliens. They wouldn't name us the Washington aliens or anything of the sort. It's going to be something. Now, that's something that I brought up, and I've heard other people bring this up, and it's a great point. And I've heard this in the past, but I kind of dismissed it. But, there's this conversation that, DC could file for statehood and become its own independent state. And if that does take place, again, the likelihood is they won't be named Washington, right? Because there's already a state named Washington. So it would probably be, the District of Columbia or something like that. I don't know what it would be called, honestly. I don't know. But that would change the moniker, the name, because right now Washington is a representation of the city. But that could change. So I don't know if that's going to have an impact on what they name the team, whether it's a DC something or they stick with Washington and just change the nickname. I surmise, and the expectation from me is that it stays Washington and they change the nickname, and that's it. It's Washington, fill in the blank. But that's something to keep in mind. But it won't be DC aliens. Okay, Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Got another one here from my guy, Double M, Martin Matthews. Thank you for the super chat. Martin Matthews, greatly appreciate you. My guy, Martin Matthews, writes, and I missed you last week, Double M. I don't think you were here live with us last week, and I missed you dearly. So good to have you back. He says, hey, Louie, I just read that Jay Peppers from the Giants might get cut. Do you think the team will jump on him? It's hard for me to believe Jabril Peppers gets cut. He was like the best defender not named Leonard Williams on that defense last year. And they got a great season from Blake Martinez, but Jabril Peppers to me was the heart and soul of that, the back seven of that defense. Hard for me to believe they're gonna cut him. Why would they cut him? I don't understand the logic there. I think he's still on his rookie deal, if I'm not mistaken. Where's the value in getting rid of Jabril Peppers? Um, I'd have to see that one to believe it. I don't see how cutting Jabril Peppers makes a ton of sense. He's not making a ton of money, um, unless he's some kind of malcontent and he's causing problems in the locker room. I haven't heard that, so I don't think they're going to cut Jabril Peppers. But let's just go with the assumption that in the hypothetical that you posed that it does take place. I don't think he's a guy that they would be interested in here. I mean, I think we've got a ton of safeties already on the roster, if we're being honest with one another. Could he come in and help? Sure, but I feel like Peppers, I don't want to say he's like Landon Collins. I think he's more athletically gifted than Collins, and he can do a little bit more than Landon Collins can. But with that said, I still view Jabril Peppers as more of a box type of safety, a guy that can do things more closer to the line of scrimmage. I think him and Cameron Curl, even though he's a better athlete than Cam Curl, I think they're more one and the same. So I don't think he would be a guy that they would necessarily want to go after, being that they already brought in Bobby McCain. They've got a safety room right now that is probably overloaded, and they're probably going to have to cut bait somewhere already as it is. I mean, think about it. They drafted Forrest out of Cincinnati. That's one. They brought in Bobby McCain. That's two. You already had holdovers from last year in DeShazer Everett, and you had Jeremy Reeves. That's four. Obviously, you have Landon Collins coming off an injury, and you still have Cam Curl. That's six safeties. They're not keeping six. More likely than not, they're either keeping four. If they want to get on the risky side, they can keep five. But the likelihood is they're keeping four safeties. So you're already loaded and got to make some tough decisions. I don't see them adding another guy to the mix that hasn't been here and having to push somebody out that has been here. So no, I don't think they would go after him, even if he were cut, which I don't think is going to happen personally, but we'll see what happens. Thank you for the super chat, Martin Matthews. Got another super chat. This one is from Lamarick Anderson. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Lamarick. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Lamarick Anderson writes, what do you think about Washington Wolverines? I wouldn't have a problem with it. I could see some imagery with that, you know. I could definitely see the Wolverine claws clawing some, stitching into the helmet and whatnot. But I don't know. That sounds like Pop Warner footballish to me. Wolverines. It doesn't sound like an adult name. It sounds like a kid name. You know how, some people, they grow up and they got a cute name when they're a kid, and then they get older and they can't stand their first name, so they go by like their middle name or something because they're like, that's a kid name. I'm an adult now, and it doesn't sound like an adult name. That's kind of how I feel about Wolverine. Like, Wolverine sounds cool when you're 8, and maybe it's still cool when you're 14, but when you get to 21, Wolverines aren't cool. I don't think the Michigan Wolverines is a cool name in college football, but it is what it is. So I wouldn't have a problem with it, honestly. If we were the Wolverines, we'd be the Wolverines. Let's go kick some ass. That's really how I feel about any name at this point. Again, I don't want to be named somebody in the comments, Samuel Hatley said the Washington Ass Eaters. Like, I don't want to be the ass eaters, obviously, right? So, they're not going to name us the ass eater, so I don't have anything to worry about. Like, even if I don't like the name, it's not going to be something egregious, right? It's just going to be something I don't care for, but it is what it is at this point. I just want to have a name and move on, okay? At this point, give us a damn name so we can move on and stop talking about all these frivolous, crazy names that people are bringing up. Thank you for the super chat, Lamarick Anderson. Greatly appreciate you. All right. Got one from my guy, Barrett Downing. BD, my man. Hey, I'm so glad. First and foremost, I hope you enjoyed your vacation, man. I'm so glad you're back. I missed you in the comment section. You're my guy, you know that, and I appreciate you. So, Barrett Downing, welcome back, my brother. He says, get better, my brother. I appreciate that. And I'm going to be fine. Trust me. It's not a big deal. I really do appreciate you guys sending the love and support. You guys, y'all hold me down. I really appreciate y'all. So, hey, BD, welcome back, man. Glad to have you. Got another one here from Lamarick Anderson. Thank you for tripling up, Lamarick. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Lamarick, writes, or it just might be Washington Wolves without the red. That's something I think my guy Douglas on the Big Douglas show yesterday when we were chopping it up, I think he brought that up, that Wolves is something that you shouldn't dismiss. May not be red, but Wolves is still in play. I find that interesting because Wolves is strong, it's tough, it's physical. Again, I don't know, but I look around sports, I don't see any more Wolves, it's just when I think of Wolves, there aren't, it's almost like it's missing something. Like you got the Timberwolves, you got to be some type of wolf. You can't just be a wolf. Like if you're the fox, you're the foxes. You can't just be the Cleveland Foxes. Like it's missing something. You got to throw an adjective in front of foxes to make it sound even more vicious, right? So you got to be the Cleveland Viper Foxes. Like it's got to be something that makes the fox even more hyper. Wolves just sounds like it's missing something. But that's something to entertain. Like don't dismiss Wolves without the red. That is something to take into consideration for sure. Thank you for that super chat, Lamarick Anderson. Got another super chat. This one is from my guy, Jay Hunter Lee. Thank you for the super chat, Jay Hunter Lee. Greatly appreciate you. Jay Hunter Lee writes, cut up red and white onions, put them in a plastic bag, hold the opening to your nose and take deep breaths and thank me in the morning. Man, that sounds like some old Negro spiritual stuff they did back in the early 1900s. And it just got passed down from generation to generation. A lot of them shits don't even work. Now, I'm not saying that what you're telling me to do won't work, but I know a lot of the things that my grandma and my mom, I'm like, Mom, why do we do this? I'll give you a great example. Mind you, my parents are from the Virgin Islands. My family is from the Virgin Islands, right? So we have a lot of weird shit that we do. All right. So one of the weirdest things my mom does, and this is some shit that got passed down from generation to generation. I'm like, why? And I went along with it for like a decade. And I'm like, one day I wisened up. I'm like, why the F am I doing this? So anytime someone would get hiccups, we have brown paper at my mom's house. She always has a roll of brown paper. Can't be white. Can't be just some random napkin. Has to be brown paper. So that should have told me right then and there, this is some bullshit, okay? The fact that it has to be brown, it can't be white, can't be a green napkin, it has to be brown. That should have told me what I needed to know. Hey, this is some bullshit that you are participating in. I hope you know that. Anyway, when you got the hiccups, you pull off a small piece of brown paper, you wet it, and you stick it on your forehead. Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear the stupid ass shit I just said? Let me take another sip. You take a piece of brown paper, you rip off a small piece, you wet it, and you stick it on your forehead. And that's supposed to get rid of your hiccups. This shit never works, okay? And so what my mom does is no, leave it up there. Don't take it off. And eventually your hiccups are going to go away, right? And then she has the brown paper take credit for it. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that what you're telling me won't work, but it sounds like my mom telling me to put a piece of brown paper on my forehead. That's what the shit sounds like. But I may try that if it gets bad enough. Hey, I got red and white onions in the kitchen. I don't have a problem slicing up a few of them, throwing them in a bag, and taking some deep breaths. So I might try that, Jay Hunter Lee. I really do appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Got another one here from Metaphor. Thank you for tripling up, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Metaphor writes, no, Fitz not top 10. Important stats for Hope the last 3 years. Greater completion percentage than Brady, greater yards per attempt than Russell, and greater touchdown percentage than Dak, greater QBR than Watson, 5th total QBR. So again, I've told you guys about numbers and how they can be misleading. It's all about winning plays. So all of those numbers sound great. He can have a higher completion percentage than Brady, but when the game is on the line, are you taking Tom Brady and his lower completion percentage, or are you going to give the ball to Tom Brady and say, make it happen? I know who you're going to choose because I know who I'm going to choose. A greater yards per attempt than Russell Wilson. Nobody throws a prettier deep ball than Russell Wilson, but you know what else Russell Wilson does? He throws a lot of balls right around the line of scrimmage too. It's baked into their offense. So it's going to pull his yards per attempt down, because if DK Metcalf is running a go route and they double cover him, and I don't know if you've seen the Seahawks offense, but they would have a guy just standing at the line. Hell, we had that last year. I don't know if you remember. Cam Sims a lot of times would just be standing at the line of scrimmage. And if there wasn't shit down the field open, you could just throw it to Cam Sims, who's standing at the line of scrimmage, and he could run. Russell Wilson has that baked into their offense. So it's going to pull your yards per attempt down. So numbers can be skewed to fit a narrative. That's what I keep trying to tell you guys. But are you taking Russell Wilson over Ryan Fitzpatrick, or are you going to take 50-50 over Russell Wilson? We all know the answer to that. A higher touchdown percentage than Dak. I don't even know what that number means. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you, because I know Dak uses his legs to score a number of touchdowns. And not to say that Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't use his legs to score touchdowns, because he does. But I know Dak uses his legs. And I know Dak also turns around and hands the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott when they get down there a ton too. So you're telling me I don't really give a shit how we score a touchdown. I just want to score touchdowns. So is his percentage higher than Dak's because Dak is handing it to his beastly running back? Or Dak's using his legs to score touchdowns? Or is it just higher because it's just higher? I don't know. Again, these are why numbers sometimes can be misleading, and I don't like to play the numbers game. So he's got a higher QBR than Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson literally had to put the team on his back last year. And again, these are the reason I can't get with these numbers. It's a much smaller sample size. Deshaun Watson's playing in every game. Every game. Ryan Fitzpatrick is coming in the third quarter, of a game that either isn't close or, they're out of it, and he gets to just come in and play willy-nilly. I have a hard time buying into a lot of these numbers because we don't have it for 16 straight weeks. You get 4 here, you get 5 there. It's all spaced out. These guys that you're putting his numbers against, they're playing every week. You know, Dak got hurt last year, but these guys are playing every single week. He's got a much smaller sample size, so I can't subscribe to that. But I understand what you're trying to do there. I just can't. I can't co-sign. Can't put my John Hancock on that. I'm sorry. Thank you for the super chat, though. Metaphor. Condoleezza Perry, thank you for the super chat. Condoleezza Perry. We're gonna switch it up and we'll go to some water now and see how that does. Condoleezza Perry, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I'm preparing myself for the DC Federals, DC Sentinels, but I'm cool with DC Football Club or DC Football Team. It could be DC something. I really think that they are really taking into consideration the fact that statehood could come, and that would change the name. And they don't want to have to change the name again. So I do think that DC something could be a realistic possibility. Do not discount that, guys. You know, we'll see what happens, but I'm preparing myself for, you know, the potential that it could be the DC something as well. But I'll believe it when it happens, you know, but I wouldn't be shocked because I've mentally prepared myself for the potential that we could be the DC something. So we'll see what happens. I'm with you. I'm mentally preparing myself for any and everything. I'm right there with you, Condoleezza. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Got another one from Metaphor, the 4th super chat of the night from Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, Lou, thoughts on Haskins getting grill knocked out by a girlfriend. Now, apparently this is his wife now. I don't know. I've heard fiance. I've heard wife. I don't think it's girlfriend anymore. I know a lot of people that are like cheering for this. I don't wish any ill will on this man. I don't like the fact that his girlfriend reportedly knocked his tooth out. Like, that doesn't bring me any pleasure. I don't get any excitement out of that. No, he wasn't a good quarterback here. No, he wasn't mature enough to handle, you know, the title of being a starting quarterback in the face of a franchise. They made a mistake. But that doesn't mean that Dwayne Haskins is a bad person or I need to dislike him because of it. The one thing I can say about Haskins that is different than Robert Griffin III, who I wasn't the biggest fan of, is Haskins wasn't self-absorbed in that manner. I think he didn't get some things because he was immature, but he wasn't a me guy like Robert Griffin III was. And that's what really got under my skin with Robert is everything was always somebody else's fault. When I talk to the kids and the youth of America, I always tell them, look, man, what we're not going to do is blame shit on other people. My favorite line to the kids, and this is probably why you don't want me talking to your kids, because I talk to kids like they grown ass men. Like, I'm not sugarcoating. Once you get to a certain age, I'm not tippy-toeing around nothing. I said, you got to own your shit. You got to own your shit. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. And in life, you make mistakes and you learn from them. That's how you grow. And the only way you're going to grow from a mistake is admitting that you made a mistake. They happen. Robert wasn't ever willing to admit I effed up. That was on me. It was always somebody else's fault. That's why I could never get with Robert Griffin III. That's why I could never like him, because he wasn't willing to admit when something was his fault. It was always somebody else's fault. I didn't get that sense from Dwayne. I just got the sense that he was immature and he wasn't ready for the title of being the face of a franchise. He just wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to put in the work that was required. He wasn't ready to do the things that needed to be done to take those steps. But I don't dislike him. I hate the fact that he's, you know, reportedly getting into spats with his girlfriend, wife, or fiance, or whatever she is to him at this point. That sucks. And I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope he's able to get past this. But it's rough. So in any event, I just wanted to make sure I let you know I'm not rooting for this. I'm not rooting for that man's demise. If he goes to Pittsburgh and has a 12-year borderline Hall of Fame career, I'd be happy for him. I'd be happy for him. But I don't want to see ill will come to that man because it didn't work here. Thank you for that super chat. Got another super chat here from Lamarick Anderson. Thank you for your 4th super chat of the night. Lamarick, greatly appreciate you. My guy, Lamarick Anderson, writes, might not be the case, but those damn kids. Those damn kids. I hear you loud and clear, man. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Funny. Let's see. Lamarick also writes, and thank you again for your 5th super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Lamarick. My guy, Lamarick Anderson writes, I mean, what would seriously sound adult for a team? I mean, you're right. I mean, you listen to a lot of these names, Jaguars, they all sound kiddie to some extent. I mean, I think like Titans is universal. My high school football team was named the Titans. And when I hear the Tennessee Titans, I don't think of, a 12-year-old, Pop Warner team. I think of Titans as, that's a grown man name to an extent. So you're right. It's going to be hard to come up with a name that doesn't sound kiddie. You're probably right. So it'll be interesting. This is why they pay those guys the big bucks to figure out these types of things, So we'll see what happens. Thank you for that super chat, Lamarick Anderson. Rock City Posse, thank you for the super chat. RCP, greatly appreciate you, who writes, bruh, your people are from the VI. Get some bush tea. My dad's got some on the stove right now. Okay. Bush tea. He grows it in the backyard. Okay. So, I know about some damn bush tea. Okay. He said, and you'll be better. I'm thinking we need another solid linebacker just in case of injury. Rock City Posse, something too. So you either from the islands or somebody or some family members are from the islands, something. Because that's that's the go-to drink for my mom and dad. My dad bush tea just about every morning. And like I said, he grows it in his backyard. But I was on the Big Douglas show, and I keep urging y'all to go check it out. Top-notch stuff. Sub up his channel. And we talked about linebacker as one of the positions that I'm a little concerned about. And I've talked to you guys about that as well. But I think the way they're viewing the linebacker position is this. We're not going to be in our base very often. We're going to be in some form of nickel a ton. And if you're in a sub package, a lot of times the first position you take off the field is linebacker. So I think they're going to have 2 linebackers on the field a ton. And they feel like Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis are the 2 guys that they're the most comfortable having on the field. However, what happens if something were to happen to one of those guys? That's when I get nervous. I think they feel good about John Bostic. I don't. I feel good about Colleek Hudson, though. I think they feel good about Colleek Hudson. And so maybe the on this team isn't as bad as we think, but I'm nervous about that. I am. So I'm with you, RCP. I really am. Thank you for the super chat. Rock City Posse. Got a super chat here from my guy, Trevor Patch. Double up. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up, Trevor Patch, my guy Trevor. Thank you so much for the support. Really do appreciate you, Trev, as always. Who writes, from a tight end vid, I don't see tight ends getting much production. I can't see Scott running with 12 or 13 personnel. I foresee a lot of Terry, Curtis, JD, Gibby on the field and monitoring and motioning and rotating in and out of the backfield and slot. Okay, so let's talk about that. So I disagree with you, Trevor, because last year I thought Scott had a number of packages where we went with 12 and 13 personnel. So I see that as a thing, something that they want to do more of. And because we weren't very good at tight end, they weren't able to do it as much as they wanted to do it. So I think you're going to see more 12 personnel. You may not see a ton of 13 personnel. I don't think. And let me take a step back. For those of you unaware what 12 and 13 personnel are, quick explanation of that. 12 personnel, so the first number, that one, is how many backs you have on the field. The second number is, so when you hear them talk about, 21 personnel or, 13 personnel or 12, the first number is the amount of running backs. The second number is the amount of tight ends on the field at one time. Okay. So when you hear that jargon, hopefully you're no longer confused. So 12 personnel, one back, two tight ends. So your formation would look like this: one back, two tight ends, two wide receivers. If it's 13 personnel, one back, three tight ends, one wide receiver. So if it's 20 personnel, two backs, no tight ends, three wide receivers. We're rarely going to be in that because Logan Thomas is almost always on the field. There's almost always a tight end on the field with this team. Almost always. So they did run some 12 and 13 personnel packages last year, and quite a bit too. I think you are going to see a lot of Terry, Curtis, JD, and Gibby on the field, but I think you're definitely going to see them switch up the formations, and it might be on a case-by-case, team-by-team basis. You playing against a team that has trouble with the tight end or has trouble stopping the run, you may see more 12 and 13 personnel that week. So I think you're going to see a good mixture. I don't think that Scott Turner's just going to go completely away from 12 and 13 unless it's like last year where, you don't really have a ton of guys you can rely on at the tight end position. It could get a little dicey there. But I'm how I feel about John Bates. I've got a newfound respect for Logan Thomas. I think you can get by, and I really think that they think, and I'm starting to come around to the fact that Ricky Seals-Jones will be a hell of a third option at tight end. If Sammis Reyes can't do enough to close the gap between now and the start of the season. So thank you for the super chat, Trevor, Patch. Rob you, my guy, Rob you. Thank you for the super chat, Rob you, who writes, what up, Lou? What up, Rob you? Says, much respect and hope you feel better. The dedication is undeniable. You know what it is, man. You already know. You already know. You knew I wasn't going to get that out. But you know what it is, man. It goes both ways. Y'all dedication to chop it up with me each and every single week is undeniable. So how can I not be here when I know y'all going to be here? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, I look forward to these shows every single week. So I'm going to be here. Thank you for the super chat. Once again, Rob, you, man. I really do appreciate you, as always, Rob, you. Got another one here from Contraband Truth. My guy, Contraband Truth. Thank you for the super chat. Writes, just tuning in, Lou. Hope you get better, my guy. Yeah, I'm going to be all right, man. Like I said, a little cold and a sore throat isn't going to stop me. This is what I do. This is my life. So this ain't gonna stop me, man. Um, my fiance always tells me, you gotta slow down, you gotta take care of yourself. And she's right. And look, get you somebody in your life that's gonna tell you the things you don't want to hear. Don't get somebody that's a yes man or a yes woman. Get you somebody that's gonna tell you the things you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And she's always telling me, look, bro, you gotta slow down. And she's right. I work hard, but I don't know if this is a byproduct of me just working too hard. I might just have a cold. Shit happens. But in any event, I'm going to be just fine. Just know that. I really do appreciate you, though. Contraband Truth. Got another super chat from Metaphor. Thank you for your 6th super chat of the night, I believe, or 5th or 4th. My guy Metaphor writes, Washington Wolfpack. I mean, that's possible. I beggars can't be choosers, and I keep saying that I don't care what they name the team. So I really don't have any dog in the fight per se. But if I had a preference, I would like it to be original. It's hard to do, because if you go in college, you go in professional, and you got professional this, professional that. Whether it's college basketball, college football, pro basketball, pro football, pro hockey, pro baseball. It's so hard to be original. That said, I would prefer to not be the Wolfpack because there's already a school named the Wolfpack. Just like Red Wolves, it's already a school named the Red Wolves. But guess what? Nobody really knows much about Arkansas State. So if we jack their name, nobody would bat an eye like, oh shit, there's a team already called the Red Wolves. But everybody knows the NC, State Wolfpack. You're probably going to end up with a name that already exists when it's all said and done. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But you want something you can call your own. That's why Redskins was so dope. Nobody else was the Redskins. There was only one Redskins. So I don't know what the hell they're going to do. Wolfpack wouldn't be terrible, though. It wouldn't be. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Got another one here from Garrett Kennedy. Thank you for the super chat, Garrett Kennedy. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Garrett Kennedy writes, just for you, homie, for showing up for us when you ain't 100%. Again, I really appreciate y'all showing up and sticking with me after realizing I wasn't 100%. Because I know sometimes this isn't the easiest on the ears, but I appreciate y'all hanging tough and kicking it with the kid as I battle through, a sore throat, essentially. So I really appreciate y'all, man. I really, really do. This is why y'all are my family. This is why I do this, because I know the feeling is mutual and you can't get that anywhere else. You can't manufacture that. This has come from years of us kicking it every single week, and you build up, this kind of rapport with one another. And I really do appreciate y'all. So thank you again, Garrett Kennedy. Really do appreciate you. Got another one here from Mark Mullinex. Thank you for the super chat, Mark Mullinex, who writes, hey, bro, it's been a while. Had 2 emergency eye surgeries. Ouch. I couldn't see for a little bit, but glad to see your show again. Wow. First and foremost, how are you doing? Glad to hear from you because I hadn't seen your name in the chat in a while. So it is now, you've shed light on why it's been so long. I really do appreciate you. And I hope you're doing well. I hope your eyes are as clear as they ever have been. And I hope that's the last surgery you have to have on your eyes. And I hope you're feeling well and resting easy. And I hope you're feeling like yourself again. That's rough. Good to have you back, though, Mark. And I'm glad that you can see me, among other things, obviously. Good to have you back, Mark. Really do appreciate you. Got another one here from my guy, Trevor Patch. Thank you for tripling up. Trevor Patch, greatly appreciate you as always. My guy, Trevor Patch, writes, all wolves are out. It's too close to perceived negative Native American imagery. Think Night Wolf from Mortal Kombat, y'all. I don't think it's going to be wolves either. I think, as I tried to convey, and as you put it so eloquently, the wolf is akin to Native American folklore. You know, it's a part of their history and it's a part of their folklore. So the likelihood that they're going to come with wolves to me is slim and none. Now, that said, people will, argue the other end of the other side of the argument, which is it's an animal. Like, it's not their animal, it's a animal, but it's one of their spirit animals. So I told you they don't want anything to do with Native Americans. Like, the last people they want to hear from on this thing are Native Americans. Like, you don't get to say anything. Even the Native Americans that didn't have a problem with Redskins, they're like, nah, we're not even going close to that. So for me, I'm with you, Trev. All wolves are out. Red, normal wolves, blue wolves, werewolves, wolf pack. All of that shit to me is out. I don't see them going anywhere near. Honestly, if we keeping it a buck, I don't even think it's going to be an animal, man. I don't think it's going to be an animal. We're not going to be the Washington snakes or rattlesnakes or the Washington, cobras or none of that shit. The Washington lions or, zebras or, none of that shit. I think it's going to be like the Washington monuments or some shit like that. I don't think they're going to name it that, but you get where I'm going. I don't think it's going to be an animal. I don't. So I'm with you 110%, Trev. I think you nailed it. I don't think wolves in any fashion is in. But we're speculating. We don't know, obviously. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Got another one here from Lamarick Anderson. Thank you for the super chat. Lamarick, you're sixth of the night. Really do appreciate you, Lamarick. My guy, LA, writes, okay, so Washington werewolves? My guy, Trevor Patch, pretty much just touched on that, and I agree with him. I don't think wolves in any capacity is in. I think they're going to stay away. Again, anything that gives off the Native American imagery or has a Native American connotation to it. Remember, I said this on the podcast. I got a lot of pushback from fans on the podcast the other day when I said, I don't think it's going to be red. I don't think it's going to be anything with Native. I said, I don't care if it's the fifth thing that you think of is Indians and Native Americans. When we play the word association game, there has to be no way for you to connect Native Americans and the name that they come up with. That's the way I think they're viewing this thing. And wolves, you don't go too far down the list before you get to Native Americans and wolves. You put those two together. So I don't think wolves is going to be a name that they consider. And I know a lot of fans are going to be upset about that because a lot of them got on that Red Wolves train and they got on it hard. And there were so many different mock-ups for, logos and imagery and jerseys. And then people started making up, we could call the defense the Wolf Pack. And our home stadium could be the Wolf Den. That could be the nickname for it. And like people took it and it took on a life of its own. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what the name is going to be. So we will see. I don't think it's going to have anything to do with wolves, though. Thank you for the super chat, Lamarick Anderson. Got a super chat here from John Perez, my guy JP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy JP writes, sorry, your voice sounds like Charles Barkley during All-Star Weekend. He says, but how will Jamin Davis and William Jackson III fit into our defense? All right, so Jamin Davis is a guy that they want to take over the Mike position. They want him to be their new Mr. Do Everything. Get everybody lined up, make all of the calls, sideline to sideline athlete. They want him to be, I know a lot of people said that he's going to be their Thomas Davis. Uh-uh. That's not what they drafted him to be. They drafted him to be their new Luke Kuechly. Okay, that's what they want him to be. I don't know if that's who he is. He's not going to be that right out of the gate. However, if he takes well to coaching and he's putting in the work, and everybody says he's got a tireless work ethic, and he's a fast study, he could become a player like that. But they view him as the leader of the defense. That's what they want to groom him to become, the leader of a defense. How they'll fit in, we can't be any worse than we were at linebacker last year. And I need to preference what I just said with this. We weren't good at middle linebacker. John Bostic wasn't good. He wasn't terrible, though. So I shouldn't say we can't be any worse. But Bostic wasn't aggressive enough. And that was part of the reason our run defense wasn't good. So they're expecting him to at least come in and be aggressive at the point of attack, to be aggressive in his run fits, come down, be aggressive. And as a coach used to say, I can't even call him a wise man, strike some iron, crack some skulls. So that's what they're looking for from him. And we'll see if he's able to do that or not. If all else fails, he can run. And we lacked some of that last year. So he's going to add some more speed and the ability to play on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. I think they view him in the same way that Tampa Bay Buccaneers have one of the best linebackers in all of football. They view him in that similar light to a Devin White. Like, okay, this guy is a game changer. He's a game wrecker. If we can get him to be on that level, then he'll transform this defense and take it to the next level. That's what they view Jamin Davis as. As far as William Jackson III, his ability to play man-to-man coverage is going to allow them to be a little bit more aggressive. Jack Del Rio has already said this numerous times. They will be a little bit more exotic in their blitz looks and some of the things they can do, because they feel like they got a guy that can take away one side of the field in William Jackson III. And they didn't have that last year in either of our corners. For as good as Ronald Darby was, they were never comfortable enough to say, hey, Darby got it on that side and Kendall Fuller has it on the other side. You always felt like you needed at least a safety back there. They may be able to take the safety, and if they got Benjamin St. Juice on one side, they say, all right, safety, you just worry about Juice's side. William Jackson got it on the other side by himself, and that allows you to bring that extra safety up into the box and be aggressive and creative. So I think you're going to see some more aggressive pressures because you feel like you can play a little bit more man-to-man coverage. We were primarily a zone team last year, played a ton of zone coverage. We all know zone coverage, a lot of times, cover 3, cover 4, it converts to man. Essentially, when a guy's in your zone, you're deeper than the deepest, wider than the widest in your zone. So a lot of times it converts to man anyway, but it's not straight man-to-man. If that guy runs across the field, you're not running with him if you're in cover 3. Okay, you just release him into somebody else's zone. Whereas if you're in man-to-man, obviously he runs across the field, you're running with him. And you're going to see a lot more of that. So I think it's going to be interesting to see just how aggressive they get with some of their blitz schemes and packages now that they have a corner that they think could be a star corner. Remember, we tried to turn Josh Norman into a star corner, and that's not what he was. He wasn't capable of shadowing the other team's best receiver. He was getting cooked. They got a guy that they think if they need to take Amari Cooper out of the game, or they need to take CeeDee Lamb out of the game, or they need to take Devontae Smith out of the game, or they need to take what's the damn receiver from the Lions? Kenny Golladay out of the game. And they say, all right, Will, sick him. That's how they're going to roll this year. So they couldn't do that last year. So that makes a big difference. So that's how I think they fit in. Thank you for the super chat, JP. Got another super chat from Gary Clutch Clark. Thank you for the super chat, Gary Clutch Clark. Really do appreciate you. Who writes, just saw Grant Paulson retweet a report that Washington has less than 50 players vaccinated. How disappointed are you in this? This is a big deal. So you must have gotten here not too long ago, because that's what I started the show with. I saw that same tweet that you're referring to, and I talked about it for about a good 7 minutes of the show. So if you want to check that out, you can go back in the archives when this is done and check out the first 7 to 10 minutes I spent on the show talking about the Washington football team being one of 4 teams that's not above that 50% threshold. But just to answer your question, I'm not really that disappointed. I could care less, honestly. Is it a big deal? It could potentially be. But for me right now, because we were so good with COVID last year, I'm giving them the benefit. I wanted to sing right there. I can't sing Pebbles. So just sing it in your head for me. I'll be giving you the benefit. I still got it out, okay? I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, because giving them the benefit of the doubt. Giving you a minute to try to work it on out. I'm giving them a benefit to try to work it on out, because they were able to do what a lot of teams were able to do last year. In the face of COVID, when it was at its peak, they were one of the teams that really didn't have any issues with it last year. So because of that, they've built up equity with me personally. I can't speak for you guys as fans. They built up equity with me that I think they can make smart decisions and not jeopardize themselves or their teammates. We'll see what happens, though. Last year, things were a lot more closed in, and you weren't able to do as much. So it was a lot easier to keep yourself isolated at home. The world is opening back up a bit more now. And so there are opportunities for you to get into some shit on an off week, or, you're playing the Vegas Raiders and you like, shit, we in Vegas. We going to do it up while we here. It's an opportunity for you to get into some shit and come back and have COVID. So is it a thing? Yeah, it could be a real big deal, but I'm not making it a deal right now. I'm not. So, but I did touch on that early in the show, Gary Clutch Clark. So if you want to check that out, please, by all means, go back and do so. Thank you for that super chat. Thank you for that super chat. Can't get rights. Really do appreciate you. Got another super chat here from Yin Yang Experience. Yin Yang Experience. Thank you for the super chat. Who writes, do you see Fitz playing 16 games? I don't. If I'm going to keep it a buck with you, I don't think he's playing all 16. Now, I'm not saying that he'll get hurt, but it's hard for me to think that he's going to play 16 games. I don't even know the last time he's done it. You might have to go all the way back to, 2015 or 2016 when he's played 16 straight games. He just doesn't do that. And it could be for a number of things. It could be for a concussion. He plays balls to the wall. You get hurt when you do that. So it could be for a concussion. It could just be because he's ineffective and they want to go in a different direction. It's hard for me to believe that we're good this year if he doesn't play in a vast majority of the games early. If he gets hurt early and then, or something happens with him early and they go to Taylor Heineke and he's balling, then we got a chance still. But if we stick with Fitzpatrick early and it's not working out and they go away from him, it's because we stink. Like, I don't see it being a Dwayne situation where we go away from a guy when the season is still salvageable. They're going to ride with Fitzpatrick until they feel like, okay, damn, yeah, we don't have a chance. Or he's the reason we're not winning. So I don't think he's going to play 16. If we're really good and he's healthy, he's playing all 16 or 17, 17 games. But if we're not good, what's the purpose of him playing the string out? You might as well play Taylor Heineke and see what he can do, right? I mean, I know he's not a young guy, and by young guy standards, but still, you want to find out. So I can see a multitude of ways in which he doesn't see 16 games or 17 games. So, got any grapes? Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, got any grapes? Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Got any grapes? Who writes, ulterior motive. Had to hear that double up. Oh, yeah. So you were being a jerk because the double up sounds horrendous tonight. But I appreciate you blessing me so that the double up could be thrown out there. But you a jerk for that. I got another super chat from Lamaric Anderson. I think you're on like 7 now. I really do appreciate you, Lamaric. My guy, Lamaric, LA writes, likewise, I am a TC Williams Titan. Remember. So, that Titan, it's kind of universal. You know what I'm saying? You actually went to the school where the Remember the Titans movie is based off of. I didn't, but we were the Titans. So I know you can feel me on that. So I appreciate you, Lamaric Anderson. Got another super chat here from Can't Get Rights. The Washington Bullets make it happen, Dan. You know damn well that they're not doing that, obviously, for various reasons. The Wizards ran from the Bullets once upon a time, which I still think is one of the better names in the league. So they're not going back to the Bullets in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, I digress. Got a super chat here from my guy, Billy A. Formerly, the viewer formerly known as Billy Ampifo. My guy, Billy A. What's good? Thank you for the super chat. Billy A. writes, Adam Humphrey was signed for $1 million. He is cuttable. I don't think they were expecting to get Diami, but since they did, I think he will show out in camp and got a start opposite Terry and Curtis in the slot. So Humph is making this football team. So that was one of the discussions that I got into on the Big Douglas podcast. If you haven't already checked out the Big Douglas show, it's on YouTube. It's also available in podcast form. Check it out. Sub up his channel. Those two guys do a phenomenal job. One of the discussions we had on the program was about Adam Humphries. My guy, Big Doug, he thinks that they're going to cut Adam Humphries. He does not have him making the team. And I'm like, without telling y'all too much, because I want y'all to go watch the show, I pretty much said it's similar to the situation last year with Peyton Barber. A lot of us didn't think he was going to make the team, including myself. And it's that Tampa Bay Buccaneers thing where Ron has seen up close and personal how good Adam Humphries can be. And he has a rapport with Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's all I'll say on that, because I want you to go watch his show for that content. But they're not, I said all of that to say this, they're not cutting Adam Humphries unless he is impaired in some way, shape, or form. If he is what I know Adam Humphries to be, he'll be on this football team. The name of the game is depth at receiver. They were going to draft a wide receiver. Adam Humphries' presence here wasn't a byproduct of, oh, I don't think we'll get a receiver. They were going to draft a receiver at some point in this draft that was going to be on this team. Did they know it was going to be De'Ami Brown in the third round? Maybe, maybe not. You never know how the draft is going to go, but they were going to take a receiver to add to this team. Trust me. So I don't think they took him to make sure that in case they didn't get a receiver, they were straight. No, they were going to take a receiver. They took two, if you remember. Dax Milne in the 7th. They were going to take a receiver. So I think Adam Humphries is making this football team. He's a lock in my mind. If he's healthy, he's on this football team, period. So thank you for that super chat, Billy A. Really do appreciate you. Metaphor, thank you for your 6th or 7th super chat. Greatly appreciate you. He says, ideal name, Washington throw. Lodges. Really? I could use one of those right now, but no. Hey, I should have known you would do something like that. Oh man. Thank you for the super chat. Metaphor. Got another one from Condoleezza Perry. Double up. I sound like a high-pitched cat. Condoleezza Perry. Thank you for super chat and doubling up. Who writes, what are your thoughts on Jay Wright's non-answer on fans wearing their Redskins gear at FedEx? He wants to be politically correct. You got to remember where this guy's coming from. You know, he comes from a prestigious business school. He's very measured in the way that he presents himself. He's never going to say anything that can be portrayed as the wrong thing. He's going to be, very, very buttoned up. And would they prefer Washington fans not wear their Washington Redskins gear? Sure, they would. In the ideal world for them, yeah, they just stop wearing all of that stuff. They don't want anything to do with that name anymore. They're trying to move past it. But the reality of the situation is there are people out there that don't give a shit what the name is now and what it will be in the future. They will always be the Redskins, and they're going to continue to wear their Redskins gear, and they're going to wear it loud, and they're going to wear it proud. And they know that. He knows that. And that's why he decided to, pretty much, tap dance around that question, because there's no way to get around that. They want to move past the Redskins moniker, but you can't. That's over, 80 years of history there. You can't just wipe that away. For people like myself, that's all I've ever known. So there are going to be people out there that are going to rebel against whatever the new name is. And just to be spiteful, they're going to wear their Redskin stuff. And they're not going to turn, paying customers away because they have on Redskins gear. So they have to deal with it. So, he just didn't want to say anything because in his mind, the old adage, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, essentially. He didn't have anything, constructive to say there in that moment. He could have said, hey, we encourage Washington fans to wear their Redskins. That's not the message that they want out there, though. They're trying to scrub themselves and rid themselves of the Redskin name. That's what he was brought here to help do. So he's not going to say, hey, you wear your Redskin stuff. We still encourage that. He's not going to say that. But he's a smart guy. He knows they're going to wear their stuff. So he just didn't want to say anything, derogatory towards fans, because he knows they're paying customers and they're going to wear their Redskin stuff. So he can't win in that situation. He knows that. That's why he tap dance around it. Thank you for the super chat, Condoleezza Perry. Got another one here from Darren Long. Thank you for the super chat, Darren Long. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Darren. Hold on a second. I got to get some tissue. Give me 1 second, guys. Oh, all right. We back like cook crack. All right. So my guy Darren writes, shot of Jack, lemon juice, and honey works every time. Hope you get well soon. So I got to stop you right there because I'm a vegan. So I can't do honey because, the old remedy is always some hot tea with a splash of honey and you'll be back in no time. But obviously I'm a vegan, so I don't do honey. So I'd have to find a way around that, but it's all good, man. I love all of the homemade remedies that people have. I've had at least 4 or 5 people tell me 3, different things to do. It's just amazing to hear all of the different things that people do. So I appreciate you for that, Darren Long. Got another super chat here from my guy Kevin, the PRF. I still week off of the road, Kevin, the PRF. Oh man, that was funny. But Kevin, the PRF writes, question of the night. If you could pluck one player off an NFL roster and put it on our team who is not a quarterback, I'm glad you said that because I was going straight to the quarterback position. Who would it be? Let's see. I would that's a great question. And that is the question of the night. One player, non-quarterback. I think I would go and get a Jalen Ramsey type player. Because after an edge rusher, I'm an edge rusher guy, but there's an argument out there that the cornerback is more important than the edge rusher. It's the chicken and the egg thing discussion. I'm a edge rusher guy myself, but Aaron Donald would be the most dominant player that you could go out and get. But we got the defensive line covered. It would be hard to not just take Aaron Donald, but I don't think we need Aaron Donald up front. I think we could use another stud corner though. So I would take Ramsey, add him to the mix, and that would complete the defense. I feel like. I mean, you could easily go get a linebacker, but I want to see what Jamin Davis does. Obviously, if he weren't here, I would take a linebacker probably. A Darius Leonard or a Devin White. Probably be Devin White, and I just add Devin White to this defense, and I'd keep it pushing. But I want to see what Jamin Davis does. I'm excited for William Jackson, but what would make William Jackson even more effective is Jalen Ramsey on the other side. So I'd probably just go get Jalen Ramsey. I don't think I would do anything to this offense. You know what? I lied. It'd be Ramsey on offense, and on defense, I'd go get me one of these. I'd go get George Kittle or Travis Kelce. I'd get Kittle. He's younger. He's more athletically gifted. I'd go get George Kittle at tight end. He would do wonders for this offense. So you said one guy, so I'd take Ramsey first. But on the offensive side, I'd go get George Kittle in a heartbeat. That guy's a stud. And he changed the way this offense is ran as well. That's what I did. Okay. So that is a good question. That's what I would do, Kevin, the PRF. Thank you for that super chat. Got another one here from Martin Matthews. Double up. Those uhs are killing me. They are so terrible. Thank you for doubling up. Double M, my guy Martin Matthews. Really do appreciate you. My guy Double M writes, hey, Louie, I didn't know you were sick. Sick is such a strong, forceful word. I don't like the word sick. Sick for me is you're bedridden. You can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. I'm not sick. I just don't feel 100%. Anyway, I thought you were just hoarse. So take this from someone with experience. Hot tea, a little Jim Beam, and some lemon. Wrap up tonight, and if you sweat, it's working. Sick in the summer sucks. Yes, it does. I'm not sick though. Like I don't have the chills, or I don't have fever symptoms or anything like that. But yes, I agree with you. The worst time to be sick is in the summer. It's just so uncomfortable to be sick in the summertime. Um, but I'm not sick. I'm not 100%. That's all. I went to the gym yesterday. My legs are sore because I did like yesterday was legs day, and so I'm a big ball of just not 100%. So I'm fine. Trust me. It's more of a slight cold, and I am hoarse because of it. So thank you for that, Martin Matthews. Greatly appreciate you. Kevin the PRF, thank you for the super chat and doubling up. Double up. And that was a little better. The uns were a little bit better there. For my guy Kevin the PRF. My guy Kev writes, get well soon, but we can't pass this up. Elizabeth, this is gonna be the big one. I'm coming to join you. It does feel I do have that little Sanford and Son Fred Sanford thing going right now. It does sound like that. You big dummy. I do have that going. I do got that Red Fox going right now. That's a good one for sure, without a doubt. Thank you for the super chat, Kevin the PRF. I got another one here from Washington football fan WGIL. My guy, Washington football fan WGIL writes, Lou, you do know that your lady can use your Manscaped. You don't have to do it manually anymore. Yes, I'm aware of that. My daughter actually loves it. I'm not BSing that, but there's still some other things you would have to do because it can only get but so close. Um, so I digress. That's another discussion for another day. But yes, you are right. Thank you for that super chat, Washington football fan WGIL. Got a super chat here from Sean Knight. Thank you for the super chat. Really do appreciate you, Sean Knight. Thank you so much for the support. Got another super chat here from Barrett Downing, my guy BD. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Oh, the double up is on one tonight, man. The double up is real tonight. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up. BD, my guy Barrett Downing writes, Lou, you might want to stay away from the double up and just say two times. two times. I can't. I got to do it. But it definitely is rough. I ain't gonna lie to you. The struggle is real with the double up tonight. Thank you for the super chat and the suggestion. Barrett Downing, my guy. BD. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Metaphor. Writes, wait, what is this? Like 8, 7, 8 on the night. Really do appreciate you, Metaphor. Writes, seriously though, encouragement. If peeps wearing Redskins gear to the game will swap it for free for the new gear, like cash for guns, year one only. That's a hell of an idea. And that's something that they should consider. But here's the thing. I think there are going to be a lot of people, And obviously, they're not going to force that upon you. Like they could have a specific area in FedEx where if you want to swap out your Redskins gear that you wore to the game for some fresh gear, we'll do that. Like you said, year one only. But they're not really that pressed to rid themselves of the Redskins um, history from fans to the point where they'll give away free stuff. That's not a good business model for them. It makes a ton of sense if you were that desperate to rid the stadium of, a name that people deem to be racist. But they want to get rid of it, but not at the expense of making money. So they're not giving away free gear to get you to not wear your Redskin stuff, because you could theoretically bring a Redskins jersey. You got 10 of them at home. You bring one in, you swap it out for free, and then you come back to the game the next week with your Redskins jersey. One of your other 9 that are at home. Like, there's no way to know that they don't have 8 more jerseys at home. They just gave you their Brian Orakpo jersey, and next week they're coming back with their Trent Williams jersey on. Or they just swapped in, their Dwayne Haskins jersey, which is shit now anyway. And next week they're coming back with their Clinton Portis jersey, or Chris Cooley jersey or something. They can't win in that situation. So I don't see them doing something like that. And honestly speaking, they want your money. All of this, they want us, like Daniel Snyder wants your bread. He's not giving you any free merch. He wants you to buy the new stuff. So while that sounds great in theory, that they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. But that's a great idea. It's a great concept, but it's not something that they would really look to do. Yin Yang Experience. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Yin Yang Experience, who writes, if you had to predict who makes this team, Harmon or AGG, one gets cut, maybe one lands on the practice squad, who do you predict? And we've done this exercise already, but that was a pre-camp. Remember, I had my pre-camp, what did I call them? Declarations, my pre-camp declarations. And I told you they're subject to change. But right now I have AGG making the team, Harmon being placed on the practice squad. And I think that's a realistic possibility, because I think if you cut Kelvin Harmon, being that he did not play last year, you could put him on the practice squad. Nobody would touch him. Whereas with AGG, all it takes is one GM out there that had a great grade on him, 2 years ago in the draft, and they say, okay, we'd like to give this kid a run. He's better than anything we got on the back end of our receiver room. So Harmon, remember, we took AGG in the 4th round. Harmon was a 6th round pick. So nobody was really checking for Harmon in that draft that year. So I think they're more inclined. Now, again, all of that draft shit doesn't matter if one guy's performing and the other's not, or one guy's healthy and the other one isn't. So assuming health and assuming that all things are equal, AGG, I think, gets the nod. But if Harmon comes out, he's balling, AGG can't get right, he'll get cut. He'll get cut. So my assumption, though, right now, AGG makes the team, Harmon goes to the practice squad. That's how we roll. So thank you for that super chat. Yin Yang Experience. Got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor, writes, my account was hacked. This is only my second super. Trying to get me to double up. You can't pull a fast one on old Louis T. My voice may be a shell of itself right now, but my mind is not. Good one. Good try, though. uh, Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings 01. Who writes, if we could keep 8 receivers, who would you take? For me, it'd be Terry, Curtis, Diami, Adam. Those 4 are making the football team. I think Cam Sims is making this football team. So that's 5. And then he says Kelvin, as in Harmon, AGG, and Steven Sims. So both Sims. He says Wright and Dax on the practice squad. Get better, by the way. Thank you, Red Wings 01. If we could keep 8 receivers, I probably would keep the same 8 that you did. I would like to see what Dax Milne looks like in the preseason, but more likely than not, he wouldn't be better than Steven Sims. And I think, what's crazy about Sims is I know a lot of you have washed your hands clean of him, as have I. I don't want to sit here and do what I did last year because I was a staunch supporter of Steven Sims. Even in the face of adversity, I kept telling you guys, he's talented. Leave him alone. They just need to get him off of punts. I think if he were to make the team this year, and it's a long shot, but it's not impossible because I keep telling y'all there could be a spot on this team for a punt returner. Like we all assume that the 6th receiver is going to either be AGG or Harmon. It may be neither of those guys. They may take that 6th and final receiver spot and designate it for a punt returner. They may say, all right, the last guy on this receiving core has to play every special teams and be a punt returner. Neither of those guys, Harmon or AGG, are that. So don't rule that out. Which is why a guy like Isaiah Wright has a chance. He wasn't good on punt returns either. If I'm not mistaken, he fumbled one last year too. So I said all that to say this. I think Steven Sims, there was too much on his plate last year. We were looking for him to be a number 2 option. He is far from a number 2. Probably better off being a 4th or 5th option on your team. And I think the pressure got to him. He tried to make a big play every time he touched the football, and he didn't do the simple things right, like look the ball in, field punts correctly. He was trying to make a big play. I think he put too much pressure on himself. That pressure is gone now. Like he's not even supposed to make the team. He's back to where he was as a rookie, where he wasn't supposed to make the team. He could be dangerous again. He could be a guy that could be a real threat on this team again. He's got talent. I told you guys that from day one. I'm not saying that to say that he needs to be on this team, but don't rule him out. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I would take him over Isaiah. I'm not an Isaiah Wright fan. I just don't see it with Isaiah Wright. So I would take Steven Sims over Isaiah Wright. So yeah, those would be my 8. I would be with you on that. All right. Another super chat. Thank you for that super chat, Red Wings 01. Another super chat from Metaphor, who writes, you hit on it, Lou. Washington Red Foxes. You need to put another X on the Foxes and take the E, another X. You can leave the EX up there, ES, but you need another X. The Red Foxes. That's who I sound like, but they definitely aren't naming the team that. But if you're gonna use a name, they're gonna do something like that with it. But again, it ain't gonna be red anything. I don't think, at least. So I could be wrong again. Got a super chat from my guy Trevor Patch, his 4th of the night. Really do appreciate you, Trevor Patch, who writes, excuse me, Like, share, and super. Keep Lou going for another hour. I really do appreciate you, Trev. Um, Thank you for that super chat. And I'm going to take that super chat and I'm going to expound upon it. If you haven't already done so, please do me a huge solid. Touch that like button, man. It doesn't bite. Neither does the subscribe button. They're harmless, actually. But they're helpful to me. So if you haven't hit it already, please, by all means, do that. Also, hit that notification bell. Ring that thing. Ring my bell. I tried. Ring the bell. I think I'm gonna go with a cough drop for a little bit here to see if that helps. So if you're out there as well and you're watching this on playback, you can still be a part of the discussion. You don't have to feel like you're left out. Leave a comment in the comment section of this video on some of the topics that we discussed. Have your voice heard. Remember, I read all of the comments. Okay. So even if you weren't able to participate live, you can still be a part of the discussion. Okay. So if you haven't already done so, do me a huge solid. Become a member of the Mob Squad. All right. The link is in the description of this and every single video that I put out on the LouieTeeNetwork. And also, please get you some merch. We got hats, we got shirts. Rep the Mob Squad. And I appreciate every single one of you out there that has sent me pictures of you wearing your Ron's Plan shirts. First of all, they look so dope. Every time I see them on somebody, I'm like, damn, that shit is fire. And I forget for a second that that's me. Like, we did that. Get you some, and I may run those back, man. I didn't realize that they were that dope, even though I knew they were that dope. But when people send me pictures, I'm like, shit, it looks really good on you. And you. So we may have to run those back. But get you some Mob Squad merch too. That looks good on you as well. With that said, let's get back to the comment section. Thank you, Trevor Patch, for that super chat. All right. Got another super chat. This one is from my guy, John Perez. Thank you for the super chat, JP. Double up. Greatly appreciate you, JP. My guy, John Perez, writes, did you hear that teams called the Dolphins about Xavier Howard? And should Washington be interested? Having too many corners is never a bad thing. You're spot on about that. But here's the problem with Xavier Howard. A, you're going to have to trade for him. That's number one. He's not a free agent. Two, not only are you going to have to trade for him, you're going to have to give up a lot. He's one of the best corners in football. So you're not going to be able to trade a second round pick, or you're not going to be able to throw some player that throw Landon Collins. That's what Washington fans love to do. Throw Landon Collins in the deal. Throw some guy that they don't want in the deal. Not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to give up some first round picks. Some. I didn't say one. Some. He's that good. And he plays a premium position. So you're going to give up some real draft capital, which we're not trying to do. That's number two. And number three, the reason he's frustrated in Miami and wants out is because they haven't paid him, which they did. But now he's looking around, and this is where you messed up. They messed up. And I told you guys the same thing going into the offseason. You have to watch who you pay and how much you pay. Because trust and believe the rest of the locker room is watching. And remember when I said, when they go out and sign this next wide receiver, You don't want to break the bank to bring a guy in here, because if you do that, when it's Terry's turn, he's going to look at that guy that we brought in here and say, you see how much you paid that dude? I want more than him, because he ain't been here. I'm a captain on this team. I embody everything that this organization is, so I need to be compensated. You paying that dude $17 million a year? I want 18.5. I want 19. When they brought in Curtis Samuel for 12 or 13 million, whatever it was, I said, see, they here. They thinking about that shit. They weren't trying to get Kenny Golladay. Now, they might have went after Allen Robinson had he become a free agent. That's a real possibility. But Kenny Golladay at 18 or 19, whatever the Giants paid, that shit was ridiculous. And you got to think about the ripple effects of what that does to your locker room. And that's what the Dolphins are dealing with right now. They went out and they signed Byron Jones from the Cowboys, and they gave him more money than they gave Xavier Howard when they signed him to his extension. And he's looking at Byron Jones and saying, you're going to pay this dude who don't got any ball production. He didn't have any in Dallas. He doesn't have any here. You will pay him more money than me, and I'm one of the leaders in the leagues in interceptions every year. You gonna do me like that? I need you to up my contract. I think he's like the 8th highest paid corner in the league right now, and one of his teammates is making more than him. That shit ain't gonna fly. So even though he just got a deal like 2 years ago, he's got like 4 years left on his contract, which the Dolphins are like, bro, we just gave you money. He's like, I don't care about that. I want to hear that. So I said all of that to say, if you trade for him, you're not getting him on the contract that he's currently on. He wants more money. So not only are you going to have to trade for him, not only are you going to have to give up draft capital for him, you're also going to have to make him one of the highest paid players on your roster. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to send that message in your locker room? The answer is no. So teams are calling about Xavier Howard. We're not one of those teams. We're not one of those teams. Thank you for the super chat, JP. So I think that is the last super chat of the night, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure that I haven't missed any. Yeah. So there are a couple more things I want to touch on before I get out of here. One of which is Colleek Hudson. So I read an article today on Colleek Hudson and his growth going into year 2 and how comfortable he is. And Colleek basically said that he's so much more comfortable in year 2, and that he's a guy that right now is competing for that Buffalo nickel spot on the roster, on the field, where we know last year we saw a lot of Cam Curl in the Buffalo nickel. Landon Collins has played in the Buffalo nickel, but really Cam Curl is the best option that we have right now as far as Buffalo nickel is concerned. And so what the Buffalo nickel is, it's a hybrid linebacker and nickel corner, spot. You're playing against, there's some receivers in the slot, against bigger, the tight ends when they flex those guys out. That's the responsibility of a Buffalo nickel defender. Still be able to be stout against the run, but can be equally effective in pass defense against a receiver or tight end. That said, Colleek Hudson was undersized when we drafted him. And he said, look, a lot of people wanted to talk about my size, but the staff is comfortable with me playing at my size because they see that I can handle the game at my size. And he played a position very similar to what we call our Buffalo nickel, which is the big nickel at Michigan. They called it the Viper position. And what they called their Viper position is, or what they viewed their Viper as, and what they asked him to do was be a combination of safety, linebacker, and corner. That's what the Viper position entailed at Michigan. And that's what Colleek Hudson was for the Wolverines when we drafted him. So he's very comfortable in that Buffalo nickel position. He said there's a lot of overlap in what he was asked to do at Michigan and what they're asking him to do here in Washington as that Buffalo, that big nickel, Buffalo nickel defender. So he's very comfortable right now. He's looking for a monumental leap. And reportedly, he's pushing John Bostic, who is currently the third linebacker starting on this team. He's currently pushing him right now. So there's an outside chance that Colleek Hudson, not John Bostic, could be our starter week 1. As of right now, if the depth chart came out right now, it would be strong, Cole Holcomb, middle, Jamin Davis, weak, John Bostic. That's how it would be right now. It's subject to change, obviously. And we'll see what happens. But I'm anxious to see what Colleek Hudson in year 2. I already told you guys, he's the guy that I'm expecting the biggest leap from. If you ask me who the most improved player is going to be going into the season, my candidate is Colleek Hudson. I firmly believe that he's going to make a huge impact on this roster this year. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because there was an article written about Colleek, and he seems really confident, and he's competing for some spots that we deem to be important. That Buffalo nickel is one of our biggest spots defensively. And Cam Curl's going to play. Landon Collins is going to play. But you want your best on the field, and maybe Colleek Hudson is one of our best 11 defenders. So keep that in mind. I just wanted to throw that out there. I keep kind of tooting that Colleek Hudson horn, and I'm telling you, look out for this guy this year, man. I think he's got a chance to really be impactful on this football team. I've got another super chat here. I believe. Yes, I do. Super chat here from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor, writes, gear discount. Simple name. Washingtonians. Good night. They're not going to name themselves the Washingtonians. First of all, that's terrible. And second of all, that's terrible. And how do you even have a mascot based off of the Washingtonians? You can't even market that. That's terrible. Yeah. Nobody can get behind the Washingtonians. And it sounds so sophisticated. You know, football is such a sport that features savagery. And here we are, the Washingtonians. You're like, you can't. Who's afraid of the Washingtonians? It sounds like you're going to a museum or something. Like, you can't be serious. I got another super chat here from Mr. Laughing My Head Off. Thank you so much for the super chat and the support. Mr. Laughing My Head Off. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, hopefully next year's draft, instead of Ron's Plans T, it will be Ron's the Man t-shirts next year. That can only mean one thing: Super Bowl, baby. I mean, even if the plan has been executed, it's still Ron's plan because we wouldn't be here without Ron's guidance and direction. So those shirts are all, as long as Ron is kicking ass, those shirts will always be relevant. You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm concerned, Ron's already the man, but obviously we're in the honeymoon phase. at some point you have to deliver the goods or people will turn on you. It's a results-based business. We know that. I've always seen Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately? Do, 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 do. Ooh, yeah. I've seen Janet Jackson all the time because that is the nature of the beast in the NFL. What have you done for me lately? And we're singing the praises of Ron Rivera 1 minute, and the next we're like, hey, Ron can't win the big game. Get his ass out of here. So we're going to see, what year 2 holds. But the reason I continue to try to make sure that you guys don't push Ron, don't try to skip steps is because if this isn't an 11-win, 12-win team this year, which I don't think it is, you're going to feel like Ron failed in year 2. And that shouldn't be the case. This man took over a roster in a team that was 3-13. He upped the win total by 4 games last year. That's a monument. He doubled the win total, more than doubled it. It's a monumental step in the right direction. If he takes the win total and increases it to 9 next year or this upcoming season, that's a step in the right direction, especially with the schedule that we're playing. That's reasonable to think. Now, anything over that, I deem to be a success. And I talked about that on the Big Douglas show. So again, if you haven't already gone over to the Big Douglas show and the channel on YouTube, please do so. Check it out. Subscribe to their channel and give them some love because they have some great content over there. But I talked about that on the show. Like, they asked me what was a successful season in my mind. And a lot of people are skipping steps with Ron. Like, you got so excited, you got all wrapped up in winning the division, and you forgot that it was 7-9 that we won the division at. We didn't win 9 games last year. We won 7. If we would have won 9 last year, then yes, the next step is 11 wins. But that's not what we did last year. We won 7 games, and we played some bad teams last year to get to 7 wins. And then we didn't even beat some of the teams that were bad on our schedule, like Carolina, for instance. We had to beat Cincinnati, and we had to beat the 49ers. We beat the teams we were supposed to beat. We took advantage of a bad division. We went 5-1 in this, 4-2, because we got swept by the stinking ass Giants again. But we swept Dallas and we swept Philly. Those were our wins. Think about that. 2 of the worst teams in football, the Eagles and the Cowboys, beat them twice apiece. The Bengals were just as bad as us at the time when we played them. I think they had 2 wins and we had 2 wins, I believe, when we played we might have had 1 when we beat the Bengals because we got hot and we won 4 in a row. Yeah, we had 2 wins already because we beat the Eagles week 1 and then we beat the Cowboys in week before our bye. So I think we were both 2-win teams at the time when we played Cincinnati. We both stunk. And the 49ers were a terrible team when we got to them, but we took care of business. They were not an easy out. So again, I said all that to say this. Schedule's tougher. We're still in year 2. We got a lot of moving parts, a lot of new guys here as they continue to turn the roster over and get the guys in here that they believe in. I'm not saying that 11, 10, 11, 12 wins is undoable. I'm just saying prepare yourself for, 8, 9 wins. And it wouldn't be terrible. I might be disappointed with 8, but 9, I'd feel really good about 9, honestly. I really would. Anyway. Thank you for the super chat, Mr. Laughing my head off. Really do appreciate you. Got another super chat. This one is from my guy, DCJ. What's good, DCJ? I missed you last week, man. Glad to have you back. My guy, DCJ, writes, damn, Lou, you good? Voice sounds done. Stay blessed. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm hanging tough. So I know you missed the beginning of the show. So I got a bit of a cold. It's not a major cold. I don't get sick often. All right, that's one thing about me. I take care of myself. I'm a vegan, so I don't get sick a lot. You know, I'm very mindful about what I put into my body, and so I don't have these issues. So when it does happen, it's a bit of a shock to the senses for some, because you're not used to hearing me like this. But I have a bit of a cold, and my throat has been extremely sore the last, I want to say the last day or two. Coughing up a lot of mucus, just getting it out of my system. I'll be fine. But I wasn't going to miss this show. It wasn't enough to make me, sit this thing out. I'm not sitting this out. So um, I'm good. I'm going to be fine. But thank you for the well wishes. I really do appreciate you, DCJ. Um, got another super chat from DCJ. Double up. Really do appreciate you, DCJ. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up, who writes, laughing my ass off for a second. Our old guy, number 7, Haskins, takes major L. Looks like his struggles on the field are the same off the field. Lack of sense of feel to avoid. Oh no! Oh no! DCJ! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, 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 oh. He said, lack of sense of feel and avoid pressure, leaving himself exposed for big hits. Oh, oh man, that's priceless. Oh, that's good stuff. Oh man. Oh, I gotta take a sip to that one. Oh, ooh. Oh man, that's a good one. Oh man. Oh man. That's so true. Oh man. You wrong for that one, DCJ. But man, you hit it right on the head. Same problems off the field that he was having on the field. Not putting in the work off the field, not putting in the film study to know where the pressure was coming from. You can't be getting, your tooth reportedly knocked out. You got to know where the pressure's coming from. You got to know how to avoid, how to slide, to create more time for yourself. Obviously, he wasn't able to do that. And, I hate to joke about another man's plight. That's not my move, but that was a good one, DCJ. Oh man, that's classic right there. Oh man, that was a good laugh. Hadn't had one of those in a little while. Man, that was great. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ, and the comic relief for the night. Oh man, y'all are terrible. I told you, y'all are terrible and you're ruthless. You guys are some savages out there, man. I tell you what. You guys are something else. My guy, DCJ, again, thank you for the super chat and tripling up. My guy, DCJ. I'm still reeling from the last one, DCJ. I don't know if I can take another one of those. You might take me out if you have me laughing like that again. So I'm gonna need you to dial it back a little bit. I can't have you trying to take me out. He says, but to let you get out of here, not sure if you saw my comment on the wide receiver list, but when you healthy, we got to chop it up, Lou. I agree, explosiveness or potential playmaking. But number 12, yo, Lou, fam, I fall back. Look, you don't have to, I'm good tonight. If you want to chop it up tonight, we can do it. You can hit me. But I saw your comment, and it's going to be interesting with this roster and what they do and how they dispatch all of the weapons that they have, because I think that they've got big plans for their receivers. They got big plans for Curtis Samuel. But I also think that they're going to get a little. And someone earlier today, and I want to say it was Trevor Patch, said that he didn't see us using a lot of 12 and 13 personnel. And I think there will be some 12 personnel, a lot of it actually, that they do utilize this year because I think they believe in John Bates. And I believe in John Bates. We'll see. But I do believe that there are some guys that they can do some things with. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So um, the receiver position in particular is interesting because there are so many weapons. There are so many guys that can do different things. And how they utilize them is going to be important. And how they change the looks that the defense, um, the looks that they give the defense are going to be intriguing because I thought one of the biggest things they did last year was they took Terry, who primarily was the X last year, and they moved him all around, including in the slot. And Terry did some of his best work last season in the slot. So it's not just going to be, well, Terry's outside and they're going to put another receiver on the opposite side of Terry. And, you know, you're going to have either Samuel or Humphreys or both in the slot. Like, these guys are interchangeables. Humphrey, to me, is the only guy. Humphreys is the only guy that has to be inside. He can't play X. He can't play Z. He can't go outside. But Terry can go inside. Curtis Samuel can go inside and go outside. Diami can go inside and go outside. And so the way that you can play around with these guys, move them around, and make it hard for defenses to key in on them is going to be huge. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how maniacal Scott Turner can get with all, because he didn't have a lot to work with last year. And I actually thought he did a damn good job with the resources that he was given. Unfortunately, it wasn't a ton, but he made it work to the best of his abilities last year. I'm chomping at the bit to see what he does this year with all these weapons. So we'll see what happens. But you don't have to fall back, DCJ. You good, bro? I'm good. Thank you for the super chat. Really do appreciate you. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. You're fourth of the night. Really appreciate you, my guy. DCJ writes, yo, Lou, them summertime flus is no joke. Get rest. Okay, so I'm going to tell you again. So you weren't here for this, but I don't have the flu. Like, I wouldn't be doing this if I had flu-like symptoms. I probably wouldn't be doing the show. Like, that's what would stop me from doing it. If I had the chills and I wasn't like, if I was really under the weather, that's what I consider being sick. When people say sick, I don't like using that term because when you're sick, you really don't feel well. You don't feel like doing anything. You can't leave the house. You're miserable. I'm not any of those things. Like, the plan was to go to the gym. I still may go to the gym. I'm not sick. All right. I got the sniffles a little bit, but it's not anything major. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you're 110% spot on. Ain't nothing worse than being sick in the summertime, which I am not. But summertime sickness is the worst. And somebody brought that up earlier. It is the absolute worst. So I'm glad I am not that. I appreciate you, though, DCJ. I got another one here from DCJ. He says, first of all, thank you for your fifth super chat. Really appreciate you, DCJ, who writes, no time for a selfie at all. At all. That's how you get got, and that's how you lose one of your chiclets, man. You know, head on a swivel at all times. That's how you know where the pressure's coming from. Obviously, he didn't see the backside pressure, man. He didn't see that backside right hook. You know, a wise man once told me, you better listen to your corner and watch for the hook. Obviously, he didn't take heed to the advice from his corner man, and he got caught slipping and tripping, and one of his teeth had to pay. So, um, no time for a selfie, man. This is not the time. Obviously. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Got another super chat. This one is from my girl, Condoleezza Perry. Thank you so much for the super chat. Condoleezza Perry, your third of the night. Really do appreciate you. Condoleezza Perry. My girl CP writes, would love to see you, Big Pooh, and Doug mix it up again before the season starts. It was an awesome show. We're going to do that. I told them they got to return the favor and come chop it up on my show. It was so good that I was like, y'all got to come bless my program. So I'm gonna just give y'all a little bit of a window into what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna broaden my horizons this year. I'm gonna come out of my shell. I'm gonna come out of my box. I'm gonna have more guests on the show. I know you guys love my opinion, but I know you want to hear from other people as well. So I'm gonna bring on people that I deem to be worthy. I'm big on, you got to know your shit if you want to be on my show. Like, I can't just put randos on my show, and they know their shit. And I told them that. I was like, y'all know y'all shit. Like, that's why this conversation went so well, because you know your stuff. So I can go back and forth with you, and we may not agree, but the conversation is going to be lively because I know and I respect the fact that I know you know what you're talking about. So, again, if you haven't checked out that show, do yourself a massive favor and go check that out and sub their channel up. But I intend to have them on the show. I'm gonna put the 4 OGs on this program on my platform before the season starts. You know who I'm talking about. Talking about Bad Dog. I'm talking about Law Nation, and I'm talking about Lord Brunson. Bring them all on the show. We're going to talk about the division and how we think it's going to go, and we're going to do it on this show. And I'm going to expand. I'm going to have more guests, and I'm going to do more things. So that's coming. So just know that it's real. I'm about to turn it up a bit. It's time to go to the next level. And hopefully y'all will be here with me along for the ride. But thank you again for the super chat, Condoleezza Perry. Got another super chat from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, DCJ. 6th of the night. Really appreciate you, my guy, DCJ. Right. I want to be clear. It's all love, and I hope the best for number 7. And I know you do. I didn't take that as a veiled shot at him. It was all in jest and fun. It was really funny, and I laughed, and when I first found out about it, I was like, damn, are you serious? I wish him nothing but the best. And I mean that sincerely. A lot of fans can't stand him because he wasn't good here. I don't have that same feeling. It didn't work here. He was never supposed to be here in the first place. That was the problem. If I'm mad at anybody, I'm mad at Daniel Snyder, because the people that were in charge of the draft didn't want Dwayne Haskins here. And they told him that, and he overruled them and said, I'm doing it anyway. So I'm mad at Daniel Snyder for bringing a guy that didn't need to be here. I'm not mad at Dwayne Haskins. We picked him. We paid him money. We brought him here when he wasn't ready. And all of the evaluators knew that. That's why they didn't want him here. So he says, but I'm going to get my laughs. And I see that. I got a nice chuckle out of that. He says, we all been there. I have not been there. But we all have been through some shit for sure. But after this, it proves number 7 is like Dan the Man Marino. Strictly pocket QB, laughing my ass off. Strictly lacking awareness, shaking my head. He ain't going, he's like Eli Manning. He ain't going nowhere. He showed that. Um, definitely. Again, he's definitely lacking awareness. We knew that. We saw it. But once again, he fumbled. This time it happened to be a tooth and not a football. So when you get hit, you got to protect the rock. When you get hit, you got to protect your grill. You didn't do it, and so you end up with some valuables on the floor. This time it wasn't the ball. Got another super chat. This one is from Daniel Morgan. Thank you once again for the super chat, Daniel, and thank you, DCJ, excuse me, for your super chats. Daniel, my guy Daniel Morgan writes, for real though, I'm getting sick of these shotgun runs. Gibson can do work behind the QB. You're going to see more gun runs, but I think they're getting more and more comfortable with Gibson in a regular single back formational look. Excuse me. And now that they have a legitimate blocking tight end in Bates, it may allow them to do some different formations with an extra blocker, like a H-back sort of thing, maybe with Bates or even Logan Thomas to that degree. I think you're going to see him in the backfield a lot, but that's a staple of their offense, those gun runs, spreading teams out and then running the football with the light box. So I don't think that's going to go away. But because Gibson is more comfortable with his tracks and running out of a traditional formation, you may see a little bit more of that as well. Because if you want to run a real, if you want to have an authentic play action fake, the run game and the pass game need to marry. They need to look like one and the same in order to force the defense to react. And the best way to do that is with under the center runs, so that you can turn your back to the defense and then go play action faking over the top. So I do expect them to have more under the center work. And I think some of the gun stuff was more a byproduct of who they had at quarterback too. Dwayne was a lot more comfortable from the gun. They knew that. That's why they worked from the gun. We'll see. We'll find out a lot about Scott Turner, because last year I thought a lot of what he did as a play caller was predicated off of the guys he had under center. He started out with Haskins, had to dumb a lot of stuff down, had to really work with the things that Haskins was comfortable with. And then as he got to Alex Smith, we got to see a little bit more expansion of the offense, but it was still watered down because Smith wasn't willing to take some of the shots that were available on the field. And I showed you guys that in the film study. And then even with Kyle Allen, I thought he might have been the one to run the offense the best, but there still wasn't a ton of explosive plays being had. So I think that's going to change. And you've heard Scott Turner say the biggest thing we have to do is create big plays. We didn't do that last year. Well, that's why they brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick. And that's why they revamped the wide receiving core in the room, because they want big plays. And, one of the ways you get that is through play action faking. The best way to do that is with, under the center runs. So, traditional single back, I formation type runs. We don't have a fullback, so you won't see too many I formation or weak, strong type runs, but you'll probably see a bevy of single back runs. And they did do that a bit last year, but most of the runs were out of gun. We'll see if they continue to do that or not. You're going to find out a lot about Scott Turner as a play caller and some of his philosophies in the upcoming season, because there are no limitations to his offense this year. Shouldn't be. There are tons of limitations last year, not so much in the upcoming season. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for the super chat, Daniel Morgan. Got a super chat here from my guy, DCJ. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DCJ writes, I'm a flex for a second. Ran into a Cowboys fan at work today. Yo, Lou, let's kill the paper talk one time on the way out. Last bit of your voice you got left. The champs is here. No chip in almost 30 years. Show me, don't talk. You know what it is. I've been talking about us defending what's ours. We won the division last year. No team in the NFC East has repeated as division champs since the Eagles did it in 03 and 04. It's been an eternity. Oh, well over a decade. We're damn near pushing 2 decades of nobody repeating as division champs. That shit has to change. Why not us this year? Right? The schedule says that's why not you. But let's see if we can overcome that. I'm anxious to see what they do. I love Cowboys fans because they're delusional as it gets in this league. But I also know a lot of Cowboys fans that recognize just how dysfunctional they've been and that they haven't won and acknowledge, hey, we ain't won shit since 95. They know, right? But with that said, you won't find a fan base that's more delusional than the Cowboys. They think they're going to win every single year. So I love it. And that's what it makes this division so much fun is that we know what Eagles fans are. They're obnoxious, they're extra. We know what Cowboys fans are. They're delusional. They think they're winning a Super Bowl every single year. Their organization has been just as dysfunctional as ours, except their owner is better at, managing the dysfunction than our owner. Their owner he's eccentric. He is a extrovert. Our owner is an introvert, and he's not good at handling, very adverse situations. So that's the biggest difference. Is they've been dysfunctional, but you know what they've done in dysfunction? They've still managed to win 12 or 13 games every now and again. We haven't done that. The Cowboys have been the number 1 seed in the NFC twice in the last decade. Once with Romo back in like 2000, I want to say, and 11, or that might have been 2007, one of the two. They got eliminated by the Giants, and then they were the number 1 seed with Dak Prescott as a rookie, with Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott as rookies. They went like 13-3 that year, I want to say, and then they got bounced by Green Bay. So you say what you want about Dallas. They haven't won shit, but they've won some regular season games more than we have. It's time for us to turn the shit up. It's time for us to turn the shit up. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am. In any event, thank you for the super chat, DCJ. My guy Metaphor. My guy Metaphor writes, first of all, thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. You've been on a tear tonight with these names. They all been horrible, by the way. And I know a lot of them were tongue in cheek, but Metaphor's got a trio of names for us to consider. He says Washington militia, DC combatants, DC federals. I would not. It won't be the militia. I don't see combatants. Federals is interesting. I could see them doing something like that. Federals. Even the Washington Federals, I could see them doing something like that. That's something to keep in mind. I think the name is going to be something like that, where it's not an animal. It's not some imagery of savagery where you think of this savage beast of an animal, like a lion. Like, nah, we're not going to be, the Jaguars or the Lions or, one of these teams you think about, okay, they're going to have this fierce logo with teeth, hanging out of the mouth. Now we're going to be some, really harmless thing, a monument, a statue, the Federals, something like that. I can see that happening. But in any event, um, thank you for the super chat metaphor. Got another super chat. This one is from Leon Hall. Thank you for the super chat, Leon Hall. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Leon Hall writes, everyone stop what you're doing and hit the like button. Support, support, support my guy, Lou, aka the GOAT. Really appreciate you, Leon, man. Thank you so much for the super chat and the support. And y'all heard what my man Leon said. So we're going to take this time to implore you to touch that subscribe button and the like button. They don't bite. All right. As a matter of fact, they help. So hit those and then ring that notification bell, ring that noti bell. And so you don't miss anything. All right. Really do appreciate y'all out there. And I really do appreciate my guy, Leon Hall, for bringing that to y'all's attention. So if you haven't already hit the like button, please do so. Just want to make sure that y'all are taking care of business out there with the like button. I don't have eyes on the like button, but I appreciate y'all in advance. Thank you for that super chat, Leon Hall. Got another one from Leon. Thank you for the super chat, Leon Hall. Really appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Leon Hall. Really do appreciate you, my guy. Leon Hall writes, just wanted to stop by and support my guy. Thanks for all your hard work and dedication. I appreciate you, man. It goes both ways. It's mutual. The feeling is definitely mutual. I put in all of this work and I grind and I put out all this content, but all of it goes in vain if you guys aren't watching. You're pouring in just as much time as I am because somebody's got to watch it. Somebody's got to comment. Somebody's got to like it, or I'm just doing this content in vain. And that's not the case because of people like you that support, and come chop it up with me. So again, I appreciate y'all just as much as y'all appreciate me. And again, this would not be possible without y'all. So thank you guys for everything that y'all do. Really do appreciate y'all. Got another super chat from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Who writes, the schedule is no joke, but the Cowboys fans are more delusional than a single with 3 or 4 kids. Means nothing unless you bring the chip home, only potential. Again, Cowboys fans, that's what they do. Every year, it's the same thing. It doesn't change. They don't really understand that you got to win. You got to prove it. You got to show and prove. And they don't do that every year. And I see it with them. I see it with their fans. I always get a kick out of them because they do this every year. Now, mind you, my dad is a Cowboys fan, and he's as modest as they get initially. But let them start winning some games, then you can't tell him nothing. And that's what I see the true colors of a Cowboys fan come out. They are some front running mofos. Let them get hot, win a couple of games. Oh, they the best thing smoking. They the best thing since sliced bread. You can't tell them that. My dad, they offense get rolling. Oh, he think he put 40 up on your head every game. I'm like, hey, you tripping. And you can't tell them nothing. So I know what Cowboys fans look like up close and personal. And when they own one, they own one. So their schedule is no joke, but that's everybody in the division schedule. Nobody in our division has a soft schedule. We pretty much play the same schedule. Mine, stands for 3 games. It's brutal for everybody. Everybody in the division has to see Mahomes. Everybody in the division has to see Justin Herbert. I think we play the NFC South this year. I believe. Let's see. If I'm playing the schedule in my head, we play the Falcons, we play the Panthers. So yeah, we play the NFC South because we play the Bucks, the Falcons, and the Panthers. So everybody's got to see Tom Brady. Everybody's got to see Matt Ryan. Like the schedule is pretty much the same. The difference is we get Josh Allen, we get Russell Wilson, we get Aaron Rodgers because we won the division. So that's what makes our schedule tougher in some respects than everybody else in the division. But it's supposed to be that way. That's you win the division. That's your consolation prize. It's okay. You accept that burden and that challenge. You want that. I don't want to come in third so I can say I got third place schedule. Let's dominate. Nah, you want to be the best. You got to beat the best. So I laugh at Cowboys fans, but they laugh at us too because we ain't won shit either. It goes both ways. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor writes, Louie, aka the throat. Nah, I don't even like the way that sounds. So I don't get down with that one at all. Zero. For that one. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Got another one here from Key himself. Thank you for the super chat, Key himself. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Key himself writes, I'm ready for some football and b-ball. Go Jazz. You're going to have to wait a long time for the Utah Jazz to be back in commission. We ain't even crowned an NBA champion yet, so you got a long ways to go there. But football is right around the corner, bro. You know, you get to the end of the month, July 27th, I think is the first day Washington reports for training camp. So it'll be here before you know it. We are less than 2 weeks away from the start of training camp. And that's when shit gets real. So not too much longer. You got to wait, man. It'll be here before you know it. Got another super chat from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. As always, my guy, DCJ writes, for some reason last week, I didn't get the update when you were live. Yeah, I read your comment in the comment section when you said, man, I don't know why I missed your show. I didn't get the update. Yeah, we were live. But you know what, too? You usually come in on the back end. Last week was a fast show. We were in and out. It was really dead last week. You know, there wasn't a lot of life to the show last week. I could feel the lack of energy. And I went head to head with the NBA Finals. And I didn't realize it because I wasn't watching. So I didn't even think about, man, maybe I should move the show to Wednesday night so I'm not going head to head with the NBA Finals. And so I think that was part of the reason the show was so dead, is that the finals were on. People's attentions weren't really locked in on the show, and I could feel it. So it was in and out. So this week's show is much better than last week's. He himself, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Really appreciate you. Key himself. Really appreciate you doubling up, my guy. Key himself writes, is that you, Barry White? My voice ain't that deep. You know, Barry had that super baritone voice. You know, he was, hey, girl, I've been thinking about you for a long time. Like, I don't sound like that, you know. I guess I'm not that far off, but I don't have that raspiness going, you know. Anyway, yeah, it's a common cold, man. It's not anything major, like nothing that you guys need to be concerned about. Trust me, if it was, I wouldn't be doing this. If I thought that I was making it worse or I didn't feel good, and I would have taken a hard pass tonight, and you guys would have been like, yeah, no, we understand, you know. But that's not what this is. It's you suck it up and you go. You know, this is one of those suck it up type of situations. Everybody's got to do their part. Sometimes that means playing injured. So here I am. But he says prayers for Lou. Hey, I appreciate that, man. But I'm good. I'm seriously, I'm really good. I really do appreciate you though. Key himself, tripling up. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Key himself writes, off topic, do you think CP3 retires if the Suns win? No, I don't. If he can still play ball and make money, he's going to try and do that. I think I see him continuing to do that. Uh, I'm rooting like hell for him to not win anything. I can't stand Chris Paul, so uh, hopefully they don't win, but we'll see what happens. But no, I don't think he's going to retire at all. So that's the last super chat. And so that is pretty much it. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and also touch the like button. All right, don't be afraid. It does not bite. Hit that like button. I really do appreciate you guys. If you're watching this on playback, you can still be a part of the discussion. You don't have to feel like you are left out. Leave a comment in the comment section. I will see it. If it's pertinent enough, I will respond to it. But I see all comments. Trust me when I tell you this. At some point, I peruse through the comment section and see what you guys are talking about. And so you want to add to the discussion, you can do that. You can add value to the discussion that we had during the show. Leave your comment in the comment section of this video. And if you have some suggestions, guys out there, gals, leave it in the comment section. You want to see something from me? There may be something I can do. So, leave that down there as well. I'm open to a lot of things. Not saying that it's going to get done, but you never know. And also, if you haven't already done so, the preseason is almost here. We're going to be watching these games together. If you're not a member of the Mob Squad, become one. I'm about to turn it up in the Mob here in a bit. So if you're not a member of the Mob Squad, please become a member of the Mob Squad so you can watch these games with us and be fully in tune. So when I drop some things from the group chat in the community, in my conversation with you guys post game, you know what I'm talking about because you were in the Mob Squad watching the game with me. So don't be left out. Become a member of the Mob Squad if you haven't already done so, and grab some merch while you at it. Rep the Mob Squad. All right, to the fullest. I appreciate you guys and all that you do. I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington football team. I do have a couple more super chats on the way out. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor, you've been busy tonight. Thank you so much. Who writes, what's it going to take for Ron to be in the likes of Joe Gibbs and the Washington football team? You got to win. It's simple. Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls. You want to be viewed. If Ron just wins 1, he's the man. Period. He just got to win 1. Joe won 3. He's immortal. He'll go down as the greatest coach in Washington football team history. The only way he can be supplanted is if somebody comes along and wins 4. But that's not going to happen. You know how hard it is to win Super Bowls in this league? If Ron just wins 1 Super Bowl, he's immortalized. We'll treat him like a god. He'll never have to work anywhere else, and he'll never have to pay for anything a day in his life in the DMV. He's just got to win. We are dying for a winner around these parts. If he can bring us back there, it's over. It's over. Thank you for that super chat, Metaphor. And Washington football fan, WGIL, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, by the way, I wrote Dublin for a sponsorship. Good luck. Thank you. I'm going to piggyback off of that. I'm going to write them as well. They don't know it, but they need me. I can really help them because I can't tell you how many people were like, yo, I tried that wine. It is so good. And they only tried it because I had it and I told them it was really good. It was delicious. So I thank you for that, for reaching out to them. And I'm gonna dovetail off of that. So I appreciate you telling me that. And I appreciate you taking the initiative to reach out to them. And I'm going to hit them up too. Shit, you did it. I'm going to hit them up too. I'm going to follow up. So I thank you so much for that, Washington football fan, WGIL. And thank you for your super chat. And if I'm not mistaken, double up, you doubled up. So You might have even tripled up, but I think you doubled up. So I really appreciate you there as well. Uh, DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, DCJ, killing it. You got here not too long ago and you killed it. Really appreciate you as always. Writes, yo, Lou, add that laugh to your shorts. All of us Washington football fans need a good laugh in our bad years overall to move forward. I may have to do that. That was hilarious. It caught me off guard too. I wasn't expecting that. So that was hilarious. Hilarious. Even if I don't chop it up and put it out, I will save that one. And at some point, we will come back to that because that was hilarious. Hilarious. But in any event, thank you for the super chat and thank you all for your support tonight. It's been a fantastic show. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how long I would be able to go, but I said I was going to give it a go. Shout out to my fiance, my wifey, for providing me with the tools necessary to get the job done. She always knows how to help me, and she always knows what I need. So thank you, Bae. I love you. Couldn't have done this without you. So with that said, I got one more super chat that'll probably take us out. This is from Joe Rockhead J. Thank you for the super chat, Joe Rockhead J. Greatly appreciate you. Joe Rockhead J writes, my man sounding like the DOC. LOL, get well soon. I got my Mob Squad hat. Stand up. He said, standing up. Stand up. We in the building. Hey, I appreciate you, Joe Rockhead J, for copping the hat. And they dope. I had mine on the other day when I did a video, and I think I did the podcast with it on as well. So, yeah, man, I really do appreciate you guys out there. So, continue to cop the merch, continue to rep, and we're going to get this thing going. So, with that said, you guys enjoy the rest of your night, enjoy your weekend, and look forward to the offensive line positional ranking video that should be coming your way over the next day or two. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll chop up this podcast, maybe. I don't know. Maybe people don't want to hear me in my hoarse state, but we'll see. There were some really good conversations throughout the course of the night. So may chop it up and put it out. We'll see. But in any event, you guys take care. Have a good one. Excuse me. God bless. And good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.